We have made not 400, not 4,000, not even 40,000, but $400,000 from running our AI agency in about a year and a half. And if I was a guru, I would say that I can show you how to do this, but you would have to pay me $3,000 or something insane to show you it. But I absolutely hate that approach. And the reason that I hate it is that there are so many aspiring entrepreneurs coming in through social media, seeing the lifestyle and seeing how people are living on social media. And then they find these gurus that are selling a course, they buy it, and they get a bad experience because so many gurus have shitty ass courses. They get the first bad experience and then they stop on their business journey. And I hate that, because if they just come over a course like this, which is totally free, they would have fucking crushed it. That's the message I'm trying to show on the Instagram that now have over 100,000 followers, and our Skool group that almost has 60k members. I want to provide all information for free on how exactly we did this by selling AI agents to boomer businesses. This is the method that we are using to make over $1,000 every single day, upwards of 2,000 some days even. And it's how we get clients that have paid us in lifetime value $93,000 the past year and a half, and that are still clients today. This is not to flex, but I just want to show you that you can make real money using this. This is weekly payments from that client that I showed before, where you can see they're paying multiple $1,000s every single week based on the appointments that we are setting for them using AI agents. Most gurus will just show you a PowerPoint or a docs or some bullshit, but I'm gonna show you exactly how you do it. I'll show you how to set up agents and integrate them. I'll show you how to create interactive demos that you can get a link for and then share to your clients on meetings or just via links to make a shit ton of money selling AI agents. And you can learn all of it for free in this 3-day challenge. This business model allowed us to have the lifestyle that we want, and we are only 22. And I'm giving it all away for free because I want as many people as possible to do the exact same thing that we did. A lot of people compare this new AI age to the start of the internet.
Listen, being involved early in AI truly is like being involved early in the internet days. And I don't think you're gonna have this kind of opportunity again for maybe a decade or two.
Because back then, every single company needed to be on the web. And it's the exact same thing now. Every single company will need AI agents. And if you can be the one giving that to them, you will set yourself up for life. Unlike the other gurus, I'm not gonna say that it's gonna be easy, but if you follow this guide and you dedicate yourself fully to making it work, and you do this for not only weeks, but months, then you will succeed. And when you do, make sure to make a post inside of the win section on Skool. And here you can see, landed my first client for SMS and AI data reactivation. 4th client in 6 weeks. Marcin also closing a deal. Cohen landing his first 2 clients. And Sergim collecting $15,000 in the first 25 days with attached screenshots. My point is that this stuff works. So let's get into it, shall we? Before I show you how to build an AI agency, you need to know what an AI agency actually is. And you need to start with these two. The first one, the one you always start with, is who do you serve? Who is your ideal client that you are helping? And what niche or industry are they in? And the reason that this is important and that you don't want to start with the what yet is because you need to focus on the problems. And this is where 90% of AI agencies go wrong. You need to focus on a specific problem that you can solve for that specific client in that specific niche. And only after you have done that, that's when you look at what you actually need to sell. And that's why this always is step number 2. This is where you can look into chatbots or automations or AI lead magnets. There's a bunch of different AI products that you could sell, but you never want to start with these. You first need to find the problem that it needs to solve. Let me show you what I mean. A lead magnet solves the problems of getting leads. So this is only viable in industries where getting leads can be tough. A chatbot saves time, and it can also save on customer service costs. An automation can organize things, can also create content depending on the automation that you set up. But the problem that you don't want to be making is that you don't want to say, okay, now I'm creating chatbots and then I go find someone that needs my chatbot. That's the wrong approach. Instead, you find a specific industry with a specific client. You look at them, you find out, okay, what issues are they facing every single day that you could help solve them with? with. And it's a huge advantage if you already yourself know something about the industry. And the reason for that is because then you know the problems. You know if they have trouble organizing things. You know if they need help creating content or if they are low on time. But if you're not an expert yet, then don't worry. You just need to spend that time looking into the industry. Talk with ideal clients. Figure out, okay, what issues are they running into on the day-to-day? And then focus on solving those problems. That is, if you look at it all basic, the money that you're going to be making is going to come from the problems that you solve. Because when you solve problems, that's where you relieve pain. And when you relieve pain, that's when you make money. And this could be the pain of creating content, organizing things, saving on customer cost, saving time. But you just need to focus on the problems first. Let me show you an example. When I started my AI agency, my ideal clients were car detailers. And that was because I was already running ads for these car detailers. So I knew their problems. And their biggest problem is that they could not sell even if their life depended on it. And this is a huge issue. Because if they can't sell and they're only good at actually doing car detailing, it means that all the leads that I send to them on ads, nothing will happen to them. I was experiencing this problem as well. So that's what I did. I focused on the problem and I figured out that I could install a chatbot that works over SMS to then book people in, do the sales for them so that they don't even have to sell on the phone and just show up for an appointment and make money from it. Doing that, I was now solving a problem. I wasn't focusing on the chatbot part because this might only have taken me 1 hour to set up, but now this chatbot is running endlessly. It's solving the problems every single time it runs, and it's booking appointments that's ending in sales, which means that I could also charge a bit of money for every sale that they made. And that's called leverage. Because it took me so little time to set this up and it just keeps running, I could keep extracting money from the money they were making because I was solving their problem every single day. That's also a mistake that a lot of new AI agencies make when they just start out. They focus on how long it takes. They charge maybe an hourly rate for setting up a chatbot when what they should be selling is the results. They should be selling this, not the chatbot, but this, the money that's going to be made and the problem that they're going to help solve. As an example of this, let me show you our best client that we have ever had. At his peak, he was paying us 30K a month from one client. How the fuck is this possible? Well, let me show you. The way we did this is that he had a huge database of old leads that he was doing nothing with. And his problem was he wanted to sell more. So we looked at, okay, how can we use this database to help them save more? Well, we can create a chatbot that can reach out on SMS. Find the ones that are interested, set appointments for him so he can make money. Very similar to the detailing. This was, however, in solar where they can pay a bit more. And at its peak, we were booking 300 appointments a month, so around 10 a day. And from this, he was closing 1/10 of these, which means he closed 30 deals a month, which had an average ticket where he made around 5K on each deal, which means he was generating 150K every single month. Now this 30K a month doesn't seem too bad, does it? Because he was making way more money. And that's what we sold him. We didn't sell that he was going to pay us 30K a month. We didn't sell the chatbot that we set up in 10 hours maybe. We sold him on the pain of him needing to sell more, and we sold him off the result, which was 300 appointments, and from that he knew that he could generate a lot of cash. Honestly, you choosing who you work with and what you work with is 80% of your results. Because this detailer, I can tell you that much, didn't pay us 30K a month. We chose a different industry where they had a much higher ticket and where they could pay more. And the reason they could do that is because they had larger problems. So spend some time finding out if you already have this advantage of knowing an industry very well. And if you're an expert in it, then that's great. If not, find an industry that you find interesting, but also has this ideal client with a good niche where they can pay a lot, and then find the problems that are inside that industry. Then only after you've found who to help and what industry they're in and the client, and you have found the problems that you could help solve with AI, that's when you figure out, okay, what am I actually going to sell? You don't focus on this. You focus on the client first. In this challenge, I'll show you how to make a chatbot that gets leads, saves time, and also saves on customer service costs. I'll be building a website widget for a real client of mine. This is a car detailing client I've had for almost 2 years. And I'll create a website widget for him so you can just copy me. I already know now what problems it will be saving. And the most important one is this point right here of getting leads and getting traction. I hope you're excited to get started, because I am. Let's build a website widget for this website right here, which is a real client of mine. And I want it to capture leads, answer any questions about the services, which is going to save on customer service cost, and just give a better customer experience. First thing I'll do is that I'll head over to the site called buildmyagent.io, and I'll just click start building. And here you can get 75% off for the first 3 months for AI Entrepreneurs Plan. And that's nice because that means you can get your first client in these 3 months, which will make it very, very worth it. And you can have unlimited sub accounts and unlimited clients for this. So I just go through this flow right here and click continue. Now we are all set up. Awesome. Now we are on the build agent page. And the first thing we do is that we create a new build. I want the website widget to be good at sales because I want it to be able to answer any questions and then lead the conversation into capturing the lead's information so we can use it for something. So that's why I'm going to choose the sales AI. Then I'll call the AI name for Gold Coast website widget. Industry is car detailing and the language will be English. And I click next. I choose the model. I just start with GPT-4o. This is a very good model, which is also fairly cheap. And now we need to add an API key. The way we do that is that I click on add new API key and then I go to platform.openai.com. If you haven't already, you need to create a user. You do that by clicking sign up and then going through this flow right here. I'll see you on the other side. When you have signed up, you're going to be on this page right here. If you haven't already, we first need to add a couple of credits for the API key so our AI will work. The way we do that is that we go to the settings tab right here. Then we go into billing and then you can add something like $5. You don't need to add any more here in the start. This will be plenty to test, especially when we are using a cheaper model. After we have added some credits, we can go into the dashboard, top right corner. Then we can click on API keys. I can create a new API key. I just call it buildmyagent.io, default project, and I create a secret key. Now we want to copy this key and go back into Build My Agent. For the project name, we just call it main agent. We can add multiple API keys later. And for the OpenAI API key, that's where we insert the API key that we just got, and then we click save API key, just like that. For the temperature, I just set it to 0.3. And for the top P, I set it to 1. The temperature is basically, it says right here, controls the randomness. If you set a high temperature, it means the AI will provide more random responses, so it will not always be the same. But I like having it at 0.3, which still gives really good responses and focused responses, but still comes up with some creative ones once in a while. And the top P does some of the same, but I always keep this on 1. And then we should click next. And here we have the instructions for our AI. In the language field, we can see that it says the AI should speak English and that the prompt should be written in English and the AI should speak in formal and friendly tone, like two friends texting each other on SMS. I like that. Grade 3 according to the Hemingway app. I like these instructions. That's going to create some good language. Create an AI that works as a receptionist for a car detailing company. That's pretty accurate, friendly, engaging, but also have the sales skills of Jeremy Minor. That's perfect. For the conversation flow, this is a bit too broad. I would rather create some questions myself. I want to keep it in a very informal tone. So the first question I'm gonna have is, how's the car looking? Any kids or pets making a mess lately? And the reason we ask this question is because we want the customer themselves to say, yeah, it could be looking better, right? When people go to a car detailing website, they'll probably have a messy car. They want to look into how much the service costs. So creating the first question in a way that actually enforces the pain having a messy car is really good. And doing it in a casual way like this, I actually used to do back in the day, which works like a charm. The second question is a response to what they're gonna say, right? They might say, yeah, it could be looking better, or no, I don't have kids, but it's a mess, or something like that. And when they say that, we want to write, we would love to help with that. We can talk more about it on the phone. Would mornings, afternoons usually work best for a quick phone call? But I want to create two scenarios. So I created one that's called 2.1 and 2.2. And I create a parenthesis like this. And I said, if they mention a messy car. And the second scenario will be if they don't mention a messy car. And then in the second flow, I'll copy this. We can talk more about it on the phone. But instead, I'll change it like, if you want to, we can chat on the phone. Would mornings, afternoons usually work best for a quick phone call? The reason we write this, would mornings, afternoons usually work best, is because it's not a yes or no answer. It's a morning, afternoons answer. And what does this mean? Well, it means that it's harder to get out of. You kind of assume that you're going to have a phone call and you want to say it in a nice way. If either mornings, afternoons would work best, kind of forcing them to choose in a nice way. And this will just increase conversion rate. Knowing things like this is really what's going to help you in creating these website widgets. You don't want a normal shitty chatbot. You want to make the flow engaging. so people keep chatting with it and at the end actually provide the lead information. So that's it for now. And now I just click Save Changes. For the company information, I can click Add Company Information right here. I go and I grab the website and I click Import from website and just paste in the URL and click Import Content. Because what this will do is that all of the information that's on this page will now be inside the website content right here. And I can grab multiple pages. Let's see what the other things they have. They have an in-house car detailing page. This doesn't have too much text, so I probably won't take that. But this ceramic coating page has a lot of text that I want to give my AI context for as well. So I just paste that in and that's gonna append it to the bottom. Just like that. Now we have 2 pages. And let's see if there's any other good pages that we can take. The About Us page is probably also pretty good to insert. All right. I like this. And you can see we are not even close to the total context that we can insert into this. What I can do now is that I can click Generate FAQ. And what this will do is that it'll take all of this information right here and it's going to use that to generate a really nice FAQ. Just like that. Now we have a bunch of information and we can add more information in the future. But I like this. And now I click Save Changes. Now we click Next. This is just a review page and we click Generate with AI. Can take about a minute. If it doesn't work, there's probably something wrong with your API key. And then you need to go in and check that you have credits on your API key inside of the billing that we looked at just before. And you need to check that your API key is good. You might also need to revoke it if it doesn't work, just by creating a new API key and changing that. But now we're done. Now we have our main agent right here, which is the Gold Coast website widget. In the next video, I'll show you how we optimize this, give it more context and also test it to make sure it responds the way that we want to. Now we're going to do probably the hardest part, which is to get the AI to respond in a way that we really like. The first thing I'll do is that I'll just open the AI lab here on the right side and I'll just test it to see what it does. If I just write, hey, it will run. Hey there, how's the car looking? Any kids or pets making a mess lately? Haha, I like that. It's following the conversation flow pretty well, just like we instructed it in. What if we just clear this and write, do you offer ceramic coatings? Absolutely, we offer both ceramic and graphene coatings to protect your car and keep it shiny. They make cleaning a breeze and gives your car a lasting gloss. Want to know more about our coating packages? Sure. Great. We have coating packages that range from $4.95, offering protection for 3 to 10 years, and even lifetime coatings. If you want to chat more about it, what mornings and afternoons usually work best for a quick phone call, you can see that it follows our flow very well. I just say sure. You can see it keeps repeating the question, which is good. Mornings. There we go. Perfect, we'll give you a call in the morning to chat about those coatings. We already have a very, very good AI. I'm very happy about this actually. But the detailing company will not actually know that they were chatting with it. That's what I want to set up now. The way we do that is that I click on this plus right here, and here we can add some integrations. And I want to add the webhook integration right here. So I click the plus and I call this send lead data. And for the webhook URL, I go to make.com. Make.com is a automation platform that allows you to create workflows. Basically, it allows you to integrate a bunch of apps with each other, and we can use our agent right here to trigger those workflows. Let me show you what I mean. So if you haven't used make.com before, all you do is that you click get started for free, and you can actually create 2 scenarios for free. I'll leave a link right below this video where you get that free trial. You go through the flow. Now I'm already logged in, but you'll see something similar like this. And for the plan, you can start on this free plan right here. You can see that I'm running a lot of operations. You don't need to be spending this much at all. You're fine with 1,000 operations a month for $0, which is nice. Next thing you do is that you go into scenarios and you click create a new scenario, and we call this Gold Coast website widget to high level, because I want to save the leads information when they chat with our agent. They need to be able to give a name and a phone number for us to be able to call them. So the first step I'll add is this webhook step right here, which will be a custom webhook like that. Then I click add, and for this webhook, I just call it Gold Coast. I click save. This will create the webhook, and I just copy this and insert it into this webhook URL right here. And I click save. The first thing we want to do inside of Make is that we always want to test it, because we need to get the values that we'll be using to set up the workflow. So I just click run once, just like this, and then I go back into my workflow and I describe what this does. Sends the lead name and phone number to our CRM. The receive data, I'll have this off. Basically what this could be used for is that you can also send data back to the agent. Let's say that you have a Shopify integration that you want to integrate your agent with, and you want to get information about an order number back to the agent. Then you can turn on receive data and the AI will wait to get this response back. But for now, we just want to send data away. We don't actually want to receive data, so I'll just keep this off. I'll create another video of me showing how to use this. For the field names, we need two things. We need the name, we need the lead name of the lead, and we need the lead phone of the lead. Just like this. When I go back into Make and I click Start right here, it's now listening for our response. And I can then click Test Webhook, which will test it. And you can see, boom, there it ran. And we have two test values for the lead name and the lead phone number. All I need to do now is that I can create another module, which will be Go High Level, just like this. And I'll create a contact like that. Go High Level is a CRM where you can save names and phone numbers in a very organized way. So basically what I'll create right here is an automation that sends the name and phone number to our CRM. And the CRM is basically a software where you capture all of this lead information, which makes it easy for the company to call the lead. And if they call the lead, that's when they can make a sale. So I actually already have Gold Coast detailing in here, I think. There we have it. For the phone number, I insert this right here. And for the lead name, I insert this right here, just like that, and I click Save. We could also have a field or a tag that describes the source. You can see we have the source right here, which is basically where does the lead come from. And we could write website widget so they can see, okay, this lead actually came from the website widget that we set up. And I click Save, just like that. Because what will happen now is that when I run this automation again, it will use the lead name, use the lead phone number, insert it into this Go High Level step and send it to the backend. And that's all we need for it to work. So for now, I'll just have this running and I'll come back to it in a second. We have now set this up correctly, so I just click Save Webhook, just like that. And now you can see we have added a node which will send the lead data. But we only want to send this lead data all the way at the end in the flow. So if I go to my main agent, I want to instruct my agent to actually use this webhook. And I want to use the exact name. The name is send lead data. So let's instruct the AI to do that at the end of the conversation flow. So I add a step number 3, just like this. And I add a parenthesis and I say, if the lead provides their name and phone number, run the send lead data tool. Don't do this in the background and don't tell the lead and say, great, we will give you a call. And then I'm going to do this morning, afternoon, because that's basically what we asked for before, right? So the AI will know, okay, it said morning before, so I'll give you a call in the afternoon. Great. What I just realized is that step number 3 actually needs to be the name and phone number that we are getting. So we need to be able to get the phone number for us to call them. So if they say what mornings, afternoons usually work best for a phone call, we can say like this, mornings, afternoons work great. If you give me your name and phone number, then I will give you a call tomorrow. Just like that. Perfect. Because then we ask for the name and phone number. They give those too. And if the lead provides the name and phone number, that's when we use the send lead data tool. So let's see if it works now. I'm going to click Save Changes. I will go to the AI test lab and click Clear. And then I'll just go through the flow again. So I'll just write, do you offer ceramic coatings? Absolutely. Want to know more about our packages? I say sure. Mornings, afternoons usually work best for you. Let's say mornings and see if it works with the flow. Mornings work great. If you give me your name and phone number, I'll arrange for us to give you a call tomorrow. And I write, my name is Albert and my phone is, I just write in a random phone number like that. I'm not even sure if that's the right format, but it'll work. And I then click enter. The AI will now know that it's getting a name and phone number, and it'll trigger the tool just like this, and it'll give us a response. Great, we'll give you a call in the morning. Look forward to chatting with you. Awesome. Because what then happened is in the backend, our automation ran. You can see if I click run once, you can see we have some old data right here. I just click use existing data. And now you can see we got a lead name and phone number from the conversation. And we also added this name and phone number into our CRM. Isn't that awesome? Now the company that we're working with can call this lead the next day. And it didn't say that it was running the tool, it did that completely in the background. This is a pretty good flow, and already now you have a product that you could sell for a decent amount of money. But let's say that you want to create an agent that can actually set appointments inside of a calendar. That's a little different from this. And you can do this in two ways. You can either do this by using something that's called a Calendly link, which looks like this, where people can find a link in the calendar. Or what we can also do is that we can get our main agent to actually check a Google Calendar for availability and book the appointment inside of the chat. That's a bit more extensive, but in the next video I'll show you how to do that, where we will also use this receive data field right here. That's going to be awesome. Now we have an agent that I like. I like the way it responds, I like the way it books people in, and I could keep on tuning it so it sounds exactly like I want to. Something I realized that it does, which I don't like, is that even though I just respond with yes, it says hey there every time in the first response. So let's try and see if we can remove that greeting so it doesn't do that. So I can either go into my prompt and change something myself, but I could also describe the issue to the AI prompter and get that to fix it. So if I get a clear instruction of what to do, please add a rule so the AI doesn't say hey there and hit enter. Our AI prompter will now prompt the AI for us without us having to do anything. And here you can see it added the rule, do not start the first response with hey there or any similar introductory phrase. I can then accept this, so now it's inside of our prompt, this new AI rule, and then I can click save changes. Then I can go back and clear the AI test lab and then write yes again to see if it now works correctly. And there we go. Now you can see it doesn't say hey there, and that's what we like. And you can see this flow. And that's how you work with the improve page, is that you go back and forth with the agent, give it a bunch of different questions to make sure it responds the way you want to, until you have an AI that you're happy with. When you have tested the AI and you have an agent that you are happy with, then you can go to the demo page right here. And this is really cool because you can then create demos either for team members to show them the agent or to show to potential clients of what their agent is going to look like. And we even have an outreach strategy where you send demos to potential clients to land those clients, which works like a charm. My business partner will show you how to do that in a later video. Let me show you how to create the demo. Just click create and choose a demo type. You can choose between a standard demo, but also a website widget, SMS, like your phone, Messenger and Instagram. Don't worry, you can switch between these later. But for now, because we want to create a website widget for this page, I'll choose the website widget demo. Then I'll call it Gold Coast demo, and I'll choose the agent that we just created and create the demo, just like that. You can see now we have a website widget that we can send to the client or the team members, and this is fully customizable. So let's say that I want to change the color. I can go to the website that I want to insert it on. I can take an image of the color that I want, and I can go to this image color picker site, paste it in, choose the color, copy the hexi color, and then insert this in the custom color. And you can also change the exact color that you want inside of this. I can then choose between light or dark mode, depending on what the website looks like. This website is mainly dark mode, so I'll choose the dark mode for it, like that. I can also insert a logo. And to do that, I go inside the website and I right click the image and click copy image address. Then I go back, insert the logo, and now you can see we have a logo right there. But you can see now I actually can't really see the background of it. I don't like that, so instead we just make it, let's say, a dark red color like this. This looks pretty good. I can also click this crop right here and I can crop exactly what I want it to look like with the zoom for the logo. I can also change the avatar to look exactly how I want it to look. Let's say that we just want this inside of the avatar, just some red backlights like that. And I can just save the changes and those will be inserted just like that. See, now the avatar looks like that and it looks like this. And of course you can insert whatever image that you want. I can then also customize the welcome message. I could say, what can I help you with today? And for the input placeholder, I can also change this to whatever I want. But for now, type your message. I'm happy with that. Pop-up message, that's the message that pops up after a couple of seconds. You can see it's gonna pop up like this. I can write, need any help, like that. And I can change the delay seconds for how long it should take before it pops up. Then I can change where it should be placed, but I want it in the bottom right corner. And I can change it if I want to auto open the widget. Let's say that we want to do that, just like this. Then I can change the request limit, which is basically how many times the client can test the demo, how many API calls. I keep this at, let's say, 50 to make sure that no one abuses my API key. I can also, if I want to, change the background of the actual demo. For now, I'll just keep it as is. I can change the title if I wanted to, this one up here, but let's just keep it. And for the counter position, this is the 50 request. I can either turn it off if I want to. For now, I'll just turn it off, and then I click save. And now we have a demo that we could show to our potential client just by clicking the share button, clicking the copy, and then you have a URL that you can send to the client. And you can see this will have the logo of them. You can change whatever you call this with the title. And then it also have the website widget where they can test it. So if I write, how can I help you today? What kind of codings do you have? You can see it returns a response exactly like it should from our agent. And you can get a lot of clients just by creating a custom demo for them. Let's say you have a potential client you want to work with. Just take their website, import their logo, import their colors, give a basic description, like create a basic agent for them, might not take more than 5 minutes, and then send them a link and basically ask them what they think of it. You can also show this demo on an actual sales call, basically just showing this frame right here to see this is what will help you, this is what can get you leads, and show them how that works. Now you have an agent that you like, you know how to demo it, show it to team members and clients. Let me show you how to actually get this website widget live on this page. To actually install this website widget into a page, you click on the Launch tab. And here you can create your first sub account. So let's do that. I click Create Your First Sub Account. I call it Gold Coast Pro Detailing, the client name, and I create the sub account. And then I click into it. And you can see this is a custom sub account page that doesn't even have the Build My Agent branding. And this means that you can instead install your own logo or the client's logo. Do this by changing the size and then updating it, which will refresh. And now you can see, now we have this. I want to make it a little larger, maybe 100 pixels. I think that is pretty good. I can also change the color, so I can change it to a custom color. So I can go back and take this hexy color that I had before and insert it right here. Boom. Now you can see the main color theme is this dark red color. I can also change it between light or dark mode to whatever I want, but for now, because the logo looks like this, I'm gonna keep it light mode. And I click save. I can then go to the Teams tab and I can invite my client so they have access to this page as well. This means that they will be able to see the conversations that the website widget has, to see the work that you're doing. And that's very important. So I'll just send an email to the clients so they can see the conversations that our website widget has, and now you can see it's pending. Then I click Add Agent, because now I want to add the agent that we previously created to this sub account. I call it Website Widget, click Continue. And here you can see we can choose a bunch of integrations of where we want to install our AI. We could either do it for the website widget, which is the one we're going to choose, but you can also do it on SMS, Messenger, Instagram DMs, or basically any platforms you want using Make and Zapier. But for now, I'm going to choose the website widget. I'm going to click Continue. And then we choose the AI that we previously created, which is the Gold Coast website widget, and I create the agent. There you can see the website widget, and this is the live one. And now we need to customize it exactly like we did before to the colors. So again, I'm gonna go get the hexy to this color right here, and I can insert a logo. I want to use this one up here, and I can do that by inserting an image URL, just like we did before in the demo. Hit enter, and now you can see we have a custom logo. If I want to have it as the avatar as well, I can click this edit tab, and I can customize how large I want the logo to be. I can also choose the avatar, so choose that I want it to look like this, and the same with the widget, and I just take apply. And now you can see we have the website widget. It's a bit small, so for the logo, like this one. For the avatar, like this one. For the website widget, we want it a bit larger. We want it like this. There we go. Now you can see we have inserted the logo just like that. And I can test it. Just write the same question again. Now AI will give a response. I can also here choose if I want light mode or dark mode, but let's say that I want dark mode. I can choose the width that I want. I can make it wider. I can also make it taller. Let's say I want it at 600 pixels. Make it a bit taller like this. I can also customize the first message to say, how can I help you today? And just like the demo, I can also customize this input text. Hi there, need any help? For the pop-up message, need any help? Ask here. And the delay is pretty good at 2 seconds. When I have something I like, I can click Deploy Widget and I can copy this code right here. There's also a guide of you setting it up, but I'm going to show you too. So you click this code and then you go to your website builder. This website is built on Go High Level. So I can go inside of websites. I can choose the website that I want to build it on. And then let's say I go to the main page. And this works with basically any website builder. And then anywhere on the page, it doesn't really matter, I can insert a custom code block. And then I insert the script from the sub account. I click save and I click publish. And this depends a bit on the website builder that your client uses, but this works with 99% of website builders. Any good website builder has this custom code block available. And if we then go back to the main website, and I hit enter again. Now you can see we have the website widget in the bottom right corner, and I can test it again by writing, do you have any codings? And you can see that it works perfectly. And then I can go through the entire flow to test that it works like I want it to. And this will also work with the webhook that we set up. So if I start the make flow, we can go through this entire flow. So I write that I would prefer mornings for a quick call, and let's say 10:30. And now we provide the name and phone number, Albert, and let's give a phone number. We check that it's running in the backend, and now you can see it will run the automation inside of Make, just like that. It'll add the customer to the CRM, and now we have an appointment. Isn't that fucking awesome? That wasn't too hard to set up, was it? I can then, inside of my agent, will now be on the left-hand side right here. I can click on the conversations tab, and now you can see, we can actually see the conversation that our AI has had. And because we invited the client to this page as well, they will also be able to see it. That is pretty cool, isn't it? And the great thing about this is that you can sell an entire package of AI agents to your customers, and you can host all of them inside of the sub account. So if I click add agent, I can call one, let's say SMS agent, like that. And I can choose the SMS agent right here that works over SMS. And in that way, you can very easily manage all of the agents on one space, and there will be no build my agent branding inside of here. So it looks like your own software. I'll make a full guide on the other website integrations as well, and basically create a bunch of different builds and agents in the upcoming guides that will also be inside of Skool. This is your starting point. You can do a lot more when it comes to the improved page. To mention a few, you can integrate one agent with other agents to create a whole AI network of agents. You can also upload files. Let's say that you have a file document, a PDF based on knowledge. You can add those. And because you can integrate with webhooks, you can basically create whatever you want using Make, Zapier, N8N, etc. and connect them. In the next couple of videos, I'll show you what other resources you have access to, which will help you further in landing clients. Let me show you the AI marketplace. And this is where you could either create a post for your own AI agency so clients can find you, or it's a place where you can find businesses that need help with AI. So if you click on the Find Businesses tab, you can see that we have 35 projects of people that need help using AI, and you can fill that need straight away. All you do is that you just click Apply Now. You can read the description, how long they want the partnership to be, and what they want to pay. And you can see the price varies $1,000 a month, $1,500, $500 a month, 750. There's a lot of different price points. $2,000 a month right here, someone wants to pay for you to create an AI agent for them. All you do is that you just click Apply Now, click Apply, insert your name, your business name, and then you can add LinkedIn profiles, a video introductions, a business website, a calendar link, etc., that they will be able to see. You can then send a custom message when you apply. You can choose an avatar that you think is fitting, and then you can submit to your applications. You can submit to 3 of those a day, so be cautious about what projects that you apply to. You want to apply to the best ones that you think you are the best fit for. And then when you have applied, if they accept you, you will see them inside of the messaging tab right here. They can reach out to you. So make sure to check the messages tab right here to see if someone is DMing you about a project that you applied to. You can also create a post yourself. Make sure that you set it to AI agency, and then fill out this information right here, and then you can create your own post, just like all of these people that have a post active, where businesses can then go inside of Find AI agencies and reach out to you if they need help. You can see there are some huge paychecks you can get inside of here. There's a company that's hiring for AI consultants paying $4,000 a month. Or this project right here, I'm partnering with multiple companies, helping them grow through researching the best solutions for their business. And he wants your AI solutions and wants to pay $12,000 for it, for a partnership. There's also $8,000 a month right here, a music streaming platform, and he wants someone to build it for him. You can find some real interesting projects in here that can pay you a lot. There's also one for $10,000 a month right here, an AI social media system for a growing gym that has 20 plus locations. You can find some insane clients right here. Just make sure that you don't spam people, because you only have 3 applications a day.
Being bad at outreach is or will be killing your growth, because doing outreach on the wrong platforms with sucky messaging or not even considering what you're sending to people from the business's perspective will make it so that you barely get any replies, and it makes it super hard to grow with clients. So in this video, I'll be breaking down exactly what platforms are the best, how you write messages that actually convert, and then one secret trick that I use to land more clients. So LinkedIn is the overall best platform to find businesses on, but you have to consider that there are better options depending on the businesses and the industry. And what I mean by that is that it depends on where you find the business owners most active. Even though you can find so many active business owners on LinkedIn, you still have platforms like Facebook and Instagram and other communities where you can find business owners that are so much more active in these specific places. To give you an example, Facebook can be so much better at finding local businesses like service-based companies where people are so extremely active. And many times you can even see if they own a business and you can directly engage with them on the platform. And the truth is, somebody like this guy is probably a lot more active on Facebook inside of this group than he would be on LinkedIn. Then we have Instagram, which is insane to target entrepreneurs, coaches, e-commerce stores, and service-based companies as well, where you see people posting exactly what it is that they're doing. They have an audience, and even though you may be able to find them on LinkedIn, the truth is they're going to be way more active on Instagram. And the exact same thing goes for communities like Skool, where you can focus a lot more on finding entrepreneurs and coaches. And then just like me, you could also choose to do content where you let the algorithm actually target people for you. This can be extremely effective if you are valuable enough. And what I mean by that is you just need to bring so much value and you need to explain pain points so well to the people consuming your content that they're going to want you working with or for them. So what you need to think about when choosing an outreach strategy is where can you find the business owners and where is it easiest for them to engage with you, because that is the platform where they're most active. A perfect example of this is cold calling. You can go on Google Maps and you can find car detailers, and when you call these people, 99% of them will probably be the business owner talking to you on the phone, which makes cold calling really effective, especially in this industry. However, if you were to do the exact same thing with lawyers, you would run into an issue where 99% of people would be gatekeepers or front desk workers, where they basically are there to protect the time of the lawyer. So if you were to target lawyers on Google Maps by cold calling them, that would be an absolutely horrible strategy, and you would end up wasting so much of your time even getting any of these on the phone. And the only difference is not your time, it's just how you choose to spend it and who you choose to spend it on. And all you need to think about is just what platforms can I use to get in touch with the right people. Now, what should you say when you finally get in touch with any of these people? The first rule of outreach is that it needs to be extremely simple. What I've learned about outreach is that simple convert, like extremely well. So what you need to focus on is how can you dumb down exactly what you're trying to sell or exactly what you're trying to do for a business owner by making it as short and simple as humanly possible. No fluff, just focus on the results or the outcome and briefly explain how they achieve this outcome, just enough so that they can bridge the gap between what outcome you're talking about and how you were planning to get that outcome for them. And then you want to end it with a very simple call to action. To give you an example from somebody that DM'd me on Instagram, this is a good message that goes straight to the point. It talks directly about a result and it explains briefly how that he's going to be achieving this result, and he just leaves me with a very clear and simple call to action. The only thing I'd say is the beginning could sound a little bit salesy, so you can find another intro to that. But the only reason that I didn't respond is because I don't do any mentorships or any coaching, so he just did bad research. And then the one secret method that I've been using to write these messages and have successful outreach strategies throughout time may sound really stupid, but it's actually just putting myself in the business's shoes. And what I mean by that is, if I was this business and I had this exact pain point, would I respond to this message? And by putting myself in the business owner's shoes, I force myself to look very critically at my copy and just make sure that it's dead simple and that it's a no-brainer for them to respond to. And by doing this, your outreach will be so much more successful. But there is one thing that overrules every single thing that I just talked about, which is volume. And outreach is purely a volume game. And Alex Hormozi, which is the GOAT, has this perfect saying that volume negates love. And what that means, if you send thousands of DMs to business owners, even if you're explaining your offer and what you're doing in a bad way, you will at least have somebody that replies to you. So if you take this advice and reiterate on your copy as you go and do so much outreach that it would be unreasonable for you not to get a reply, you will see success.
We all have that friend that says, oh shit, I'll start a fucking business. This is gonna go crazy. I'm gonna be rich. And then 1 week passes and you ask them, well, how's it going with the business? Oh, I haven't really started yet. And then another week passes and you ask them and they say, well, I'm still setting up my website. Your website should not take more than 1 hour to set up. And to prove that to you, I've basically just taken our AI agency website. I've made a copy of it so you can set it up in 10 minutes. This is the website that drives our credibility to work with clients that have hundreds of employees and that can pay us thousands of dollars every single week to work with us. First thing we do is that we go to ChatGPT, get it to create a logo. I like this one, so I just download it. Next thing is that we go inside of high level. In the description, there's a link that has the snapshot where you get a copy of this exact website so you can set it up for your own business. So I just go into my sub accounts, I click create a new sub account, and for you, it will be inside of the imported snapshots right here. I choose the website template and then I fill out this information and then I click add sub account, switch to sub account. And I click on the website in the bottom left corner. And then under websites, you will have a website template, which is basically just my website. I've just removed the colors and it looks like this. So in the next 10 minutes, I'll basically just go through how quickly you can actually update it. If I click on the nav bar, I go down into the color and we choose this orange right here. And for the icon color, we also choose this orange. And for the hover text, let's just do it orange as well. Then we click the logo right here, and inside of the brand logo I click this right here, and then I upload the logo that we literally just downloaded from ChatGPT. Upload like that, boom, like that. And for the start here button, we also change the colors to this new orange color like this, and the border we change inside of advanced also to this orange color, boom. And I just keep changing the colors everywhere to this new orange instead of the purple. And this border is also under advanced. This is honestly what will take the longest time. It's just going through and customizing all of this to your colors. And also remember just to update the image right here at the bottom to our logo like that. And I also fill out this information. Let's say that our AI agency is called Sun AI. And I update the email and phone number as well. Then I remember to save it and publish it as well. If I want to make the logo a little larger, I can just go inside of the logo and I can change the width to, let's say, 200, might be a little too large, 150 like that. That looks better, I think. For these icons right here, you can just find some free icons inside of Canva and you can change the color. So if I just create a new logo inside of Canva, I can go inside of elements and I can search for, let's say, 1. And you can see I can insert these like that, change the color to an orange color if I want that instead. And I can do the exact same thing with 2. A good trick is if you want it in the same size, it's just to insert them on top of each other like that. Like that. And then I can just change the colors on them to whatever I want. And I can then click share and I can click download right here. And I click all pages. Let me show you a trick. If you don't have the premium version of Canva, you just check off the transparent background and you download it. And then you search for background remover right here. And you can basically just insert the images that we just got into this. And this will basically just remove the background. So it's an additional step, but at least you don't have to pay for Canva. Like that. And that's completely free to do. Then I go back into high level and we can just change these numbers right here and we can just upload the newest images. All 3 of them. Like that. And then I can just change them out. Like that, and I click save. Awesome, now we have changed the entire page to fit the new color. These icons, you can do the exact same thing. These are also from Canva, so you can just change that that out to your own industry with your own color, just like we did before. Next thing you should do is that you click back, and then you want to update your privacy policy just by clicking edit. Right here, you just go to ChatGPT, you ask it to create me a privacy policy for my AI agency called Sun AI. And of course, this depends on your exact business and what you do with the user information, etc. So you would of course instruct ChatGPT to include this. But just to show you an example, you can take this privacy policy right here and you can just insert it just by clicking the plus, clicking a column like this, and then inserting text like that. And then just copying this just to show you. Like that. Now you have a privacy policy, and you click save, and then you can do the exact same thing with terms of service, also just by using ChatGPT. And now your website is actually done. But you also need to add one more thing, which is that you want people to be able to book meetings with you. Inside of this snapshot, you already have a calendar. Inside this snapshot, you already actually have a calendar. We just need to update how the page looks. Just like before, I just changed the colors to the orange. Change this icon right here. And I insert my logo. And the background right here, I just want that to be white. And I just click save right here. Awesome. And last thing you need to do is just to connect your main website with your funnel. And the way you do that is inside of your website page, click the button with the start here, and you update the website URL like that. And you do that everywhere where you want to update it and where you want them to book an appointment. Like this. And you click save. Another thing I've added to this template is actually a calculator. This is used for our AI agency where we get our potential clients to actually calculate how much missing revenue they're missing out on from their age leads. This is basically just a code piece, a custom code piece inside of here. What you can do is that you can take this code right here, you can go back into ChatGPT and you can tell it to update it to an orange color. And ChatGPT will basically just take this color, update the code for you and give it back to you. And you can just click copy and you can insert it instead of this current code. And when you save it and you go to the preview domain again, you can see now you have an orange color and you can choose whatever color that you want. Awesome. And now when the client clicks start here, it takes them to your calendar where they can book an appointment. And the snapshot is set up in such a way where when people book an appointment with you, it shows up inside of this calendar right here. There you go. Now you're ready to do your outreach, find clients, and when they search your website, they'll have a professional looking website where they can see that you're actually legit. So send this video to your friend that says that they wanted to start a business, but they have nothing to show for it after months. Hopefully this helps you guys out.
Consistently getting clients is one of the hardest things about running a business, but we found that the best way to get a client's attention is an Alex Hormozi style offer where we go in, DM them, and then tell them that we created a demo and that we can send it to them so that we've already created the value. That's the best way to get their attention. And here it's important to use platforms where your ideal client is active, but we usually use LinkedIn groups. You can find a lot of different people in here, but if you know that your clients are more active on Instagram or Facebook, then you should use that and you can use the same outreach strategy there. We found that one of the best ways is to go to a LinkedIn group, show all members, and then find CEOs in here by using the search bar. So when you use the search bar, the top profiles always come up. You can use all different letters and they'll pop up. So in here, you want to go for the vice presidents, the CEO, the COOs, and the lowest I'd usually go is the sales manager because they still have something to prove and they can still somewhat make decisions as well. So what you do is you find one that you want to DM and you either hit them with a super niche question about their industry that they would be prone to respond to, or you can go for a more general approach, which is this one, is this the best place to ask a question? It works in every single industry. It gets people's attention and they usually reply yes. And once we actually get a response, we want to send them something along the lines of, I actually created an AI demo based on company name's website. Do you mind if I send it over? And once you get a yes, you want to go to testmyprompt.com and build an AI in 5 minutes that you can send to them. You just give it a name that you want them to see. You pick the industry they're in, you pick the language, and you choose either sales or support AI. Then it autofills the whole thing. And if you want to, you can actually add your own questions in here. And then you can import all their company information from their website by clicking import from website page and turn into FAQ. Once you have the build, you click on it, you go to test agent, change the name to whatever you want it to be up here. You can also enter a logo if you want to make it super personal. And then you can also change around the colors if they have some company colors that you want to fit the demo. You choose the build. You can also change the initial message that they see. And then once you've done that, you can create a demo for them. Usually I'd give them 20 to 50 responses to make sure they're not going to overuse your API. And then once you click create demo, you're going to get a shareable link that you can send to them. And then once you've copied this link, you can actually send it to them on LinkedIn. And this is what is going to pop up. And they can just try the AI for themselves. So what's super important as well is once you've actually sent them an AI, make sure to follow up with them consistently to see if they're actually interested and if they checked it out. And what you're going to see is that a lot of these deals, they're going to come through from the follow-up because yes, initially they are interested, and once they have the demo, they may not be as motivated to go through it. So that's why following up is very, very important, and that the majority of the deals are going to come through from consistent follow-up. And the reason this works so well is because you go in and you create a demo for them personally. They'll open up this site and they haven't seen anything like it before. And once they're curious, you want to go for a one-to-one meeting and book them in. And you can do this in 2 ways. You can either set it up manually by messaging them and asking them, or you can send them a booking link through your website, which looks more professional. Then we have the Instagram cold outreach strategy, and this is really, really effective for targeting entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, e-commerce brands, and then also service-based companies that are already using content to market their business. How we find business owners and brands is by searching on hashtags. That's how you are going to find the most businesses possible within a niche or an industry. So this, for example, could be car detailing. 5,000 plus posts, because this is all going to be people that are going to show their services and how good of a job they did. Essentially, what we want to do is we want to use hashtags to find people that are in our niche or business owners in our industry. The best way to engage them is really through their posts. So what you'll do is you'll go in and follow them, and you'll go in and type either something complimentary to their post, or you can tell them again, I sent you a DM. And we still use the same strategy, which would be the general question about, is this the best place to ask a question? Or it would be an industry specific question like, what products do you sell, or which services do you provide? And then once they engage, we again tell them that we created an AI based on their website or based on their page, and if they'd be open to checking it out. You also have good ways to stand out. For example, you can see this guy, he has 200 followers and he posted a story. Really nice way to engage with him would be to go to his story and then reply through that, because that will put you at the top and is going to make you stand out again. You can compliment and then you can ask him questions. A ton of these people, they will get text-based pitches, which is why if you send a video DM or a voice note, you are going to stand out. And output is everything right now. So you want to stand out and you want to be able to get people interested. Just to recap really, really briefly, we use hashtags to engage people. That could be real estate, car detailing, e-commerce brands, specific products that e-commerce brands are selling. Then you engage with them through their stories and their posts. You follow them, you like their posts, and you comment before you DM. And then you can pitch the idea of an AI that you already created and get them on a call to sell it. This video is going to show you how you target people on Facebook. This is extremely good for targeting local businesses and service providers. The first thing we want to do is we want to find business owners in niche Facebook groups. So you join groups that are specific to a niche, and then you'll find business owners in that specific industry that you want to target. This could be real estate, home services, coaches, anything like that. One thing that we actually started with, which is an underrated niche, is called detailing. And it's basically a lot of people that wash cars. And it's a really, really cool industry to start in. And you go in here and you engage with the posts. So what you want to look for is, in these groups, people, they address industry specific questions, any obstacles that they face, and then they share resources with each other. And you want to look for posts that you can engage with or compliment. And then the way we want to approach this is we want to comment on their post, where we either compliment or engage with their post. We can also just engage and say, hey, I sent you a DM. That increases the likelihood of their response. So you had to comment and you basically just write them, hey, I sent you a DM, or like the post, I sent you a DM. That's very, very simple. And then the strategies that you can do to stand out in their DMs is you can screenshot their post and then you can message it to them and then say, hey, I really like this about your post, where you compliment it. People, they love when they get a compliment, and then send them a picture of their post and tell them what you liked about it. The other way that you can stand out is by sending a voice message or a video message. And in the video message, you could show them their post, or you can send them a video message saying that you created an AI and that you can show it to them. And you can even take a video of your screen with an AI on it. So where you are actually creating a prompt in Test My Prompt, or creating it on the OpenAI playground. This is a really cool thing. People are not used to seeing that, and it'll make you stand out. So aside from engaging in their posts, what we really want to do is we want to send them that first message to get them engaged into the conversation. It's always going to increase response rates if you send something that's personalized. But you can always ask them, is this the best place to ask a question? And this works really well in these niche groups, especially because oftentimes you are reaching out to business owners or business profiles. So this is a perfect way to actually engage them in conversation. And again, you can make it industry specific. So for example, in detailing, something that's very common is either having a shop or being mobile. So either people come to you or you go to them. So for example, you could always ask people, hey, do you have a shop or are you fully mobile? That would be a way to engage these people in a more personalized conversation about detailing, right? So what we want to just make sure is that we get a quick interaction with them before we tell them that we created an AI for them. And that's the kind of essential part, because it will increase the likelihood that they actually respond when we pitch them the AI idea. Then again, we use the message, I built you an AI based on company name's website. Would you be against having a look at it? And then of course check that they do have a website, or just say, I built you an AI based on your profile. Whatever works, just make sure you're not sending them that you looked at their website if they don't actually have a website. And then if they don't respond, you can actually use a pretty cool method. Is you could tell them that, hey, I noticed it took a while for you to respond. I thought it'd be cool if I created you a free AI that could be in your DMs and help you. And then we want to mention a client-specific example. So for example, in this case, the client would want the AI in the DM to help them answer questions about their services and book people in. So that would be something that you could mention to real estate agents, car detailers, and then mention, I already made it. Would you be against having a look at it? Very, very simple. Again, I'll put all the scripts in the course below so that you can just copy them. And then one thing you have to know is cold DMs are all about output. So it's a huge volume game. So if you send 20 DMs and it hasn't worked yet, you just need to do more. Volume is key when we're talking about cold outreach. Another way to engage in Facebook groups is finding local groups. So if you are targeting local businesses, one thing that's extremely powerful is to search for groups in your local area. So an example of this could be Santa Barbara. I don't live in Santa Barbara, so I probably wouldn't get invited to this group. You even have a Santa Barbara County local businesses here, and it's a public group. So you could join this group and you could make a really nice post. Like really just try and spread value, and people love that, especially in a community. Because a community is really about helping each other. Post something like, I'd love to see if I could help you save time and make more money using AI. There's no work required from your end. I'm starting my own business. I'm 22 and I'm learning AI. Say, if you're a local business owner and you've been wondering what's possible with AI, I'd love to see if I can help you. Again, I'll put this in the course below so you guys could just copy it. The reason that this works is because it shows you that you're genuinely just trying to help and learn in the process. So helping the local community and the business, and then learn. And then when you're a part of a smaller community, people are just extremely likely to support you and try to help you. And that's kind of also what you're trying to spread with the group posts. So that's how we use Facebook groups that are niche and industry specific, and how we find local Facebook groups of communities where you could go in and see if anybody wants an AI. So to summarize, this video shows you how you engage in niche and industry specific groups, how you can DM and engage people from their posts in a personal message over DMs, and then also how you can use local groups to actually go in and provide value and possibly get some first clients from there. The next outreach strategy that we have is over Skool. The best way to engage people in Skool is by engaging in posts and then DMing people with something industry specific. If you need level 2 to DM people, you can create an intro post, and I'll create a script for an intro post that works in the course below so you guys can copy it. But essentially what we want to do is we want to join a few different groups, get level 2, and then once you can DM people, you're actually looking to engage with or compliment people on a post. What we want to do is we want to join a few different groups and get level 2, and then once we can DM people, we want to look for posts that we can engage with or compliment. And this is a good post. You can see that he is engaged in the community and that he's already seeing some success with his e-commerce business. So what you want to do here is you want to compliment their success or their journey, or engage with the post if it's a question about anything specific. Type that in the comment where you compliment or engage, and then you say, I sent you a DM. And this will make sure that they actually go out of their way to find your DM and respond to it. And then on Skool especially, because posts are so individual, what you want to do is you want to make it a little bit more personalized here. So you mentioned how you like their post, or in this case, you could mention how you're impressed that he actually started drop shipping at 15. You thought that was really cool. And then that you're actually just starting out as well, and you're creating AIs that you are implementing into e-commerce brands so that they can give quick responses and support to their customers. And then there are a few ways that we can really stand out in a Skool community and where we can actually reach a lot more people. And this usually works better even with smaller groups or some large groups where you have really active owners and admins where you can get permission from them. But what we want to do is we want to DM the owner or the admin and then tell them that you've been creating free AIs for the community, which would be either e-commerce brands, service-based businesses, anything like that, that if they like it, they can keep it if they want to, but tell them that you're doing it for the learning experience and you think that their audience would love it. I'll put the script down below as well for the message that you can send to the admins, and then the post that you'll be posting once they approve it, because this is a super efficient way to reach a lot of people and then just show them that you're essentially providing value to the community and there's no risk in it for them, because essentially everybody wants to save time and make more money. And then we want to keep the messaging super simple, takes 5 seconds to read and understand. And then in general, just keep in mind that with outreach, super simple messaging converts. And finally, then input is everything. Cold outreach is all about volume. As Alex Ramosi says, no one knows who you are, and you should spend at least 4 hours a day changing that. So if you spend 4 hours a day on cold outreach and iterate messaging slightly depending on what you find out resonates with your industry and niche, you're 100% going to get a client within a few days. And if you guys have any industry or niche specific questions, please ask them in the Skool group. We'll do our best to answer all of them, and you'll probably also get input from the amazing community that's in there. We really appreciate everyone that shares their own experiences or their own value in there. We really appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for watching.
I went from 0 to 110,000 followers in less than 3 months. And I'm consistently growing over 1,500 followers every single day. And I'm doing this posting educational content that is not very edited. This is making brands that have over 1 million followers reach out to me that wants my services without me having to do anything. It's not very complicated, and I can explain exactly how I did it in less than 5 minutes. And at the end, I'll show you the secret method that we are doing to gaining over 50,000 followers additionally every single year. First thing that you want to do is that you want to get inspired or copy from what works. You've 100% seen this guy around. Tony from LC Signs. And what he does is that he takes some video that has an engaging hook that catches people's attention, and then it cuts to him. And we do something very similar. We take a clip that is specific to the industry that we are talking about, which is AI, and then we cut to me explaining something additional and providing value to that hook. And that just gets insane metrics. And the next thing that you do is that you see what works. Let me actually go on my Instagram to show you the metrics that I look for to create even better videos that go viral. Let's head over to my Instagram and let's take this video right here, which performed really good, 1.6 million views. The thing that you look for is these metrics. You want to look at the likes and the saves and how relative they are to each other. You can see there's almost twice as many that saves my content comparing to liking it, which is a good thing when you do educational content, because this means that people find your content valuable, that they want to save it for later. The next thing you want to look at is the average watch time, and then the view rate past 3 seconds as well. These two metrics, average watch time and view rate past 3 seconds. If one of these metrics are not good, that means that your video will flop. And I'll show you an example of that in a second. 28% average watch time is absolutely nuts. And 80% watching past these first 3 seconds is also crazy. A good view rate past the first 3 seconds would be something like 60%, and a good average watch time is anything over 16 seconds. So you can see this is almost twice as high as a good average watch time. And the reason this performs so well is because we have this initial hook where an OnlyFans model talk about how much he makes, and then I cut to it saying that this is the male version of OnlyFans, and I provide educational content for what they can do and what I do, just a step-by-step low engaging video, but this performs. Let me show you a video that then didn't perform. Let's look at this video right here. Here you can see the saves and likes are almost the same, which means that my viewers didn't find it as valuable. And when you look at the watch time, you can actually see it's 18 seconds. 18 seconds is actually really good, but the view rate past the first 3 seconds is only 51 seconds. So here comes something really smart that you can do. You look at the two metrics, the average watch time and the view rate past the first 3 seconds. If your average watch time is high, but the view rate is low, what you can do is that you can take the initial hook that you have had, you can switch that out for a better hook, will make your reel perform way better. And the same with the average watch time. If you have a terrible average watch time, but a really good hook, then just change the body of the video out so you have two good metrics. Splitting it up like this means that you don't have to reshoot an entire video to get a good performing reel. What you do is that you just look at the metrics, you see where it's lacking, and then you change that out for a better video. And we have done a lot of repurposing, which means that we're getting to that 5 million views a month, and we've consistently done this for the last 3 months. And here comes the secret method, which is absolutely abusing trial reels. Let me show you what I mean. If I head over to Instagram, one of the reasons that we have so many monthly views is that if I go to trial reels here, you can see how many trial reels we are posting every single day. And they are actually getting a decent amount of views. Every one of them is getting like 3,000 to 5,000 views. And then sometimes they actually gain a lot more, like 21,000 views. And we even had a trial reel that gained 1.2 million views. So they can go viral as well. The reason we do this is that if I go into one of these trial reels right here and I look at the insights, I can see how many followers it gained me. You can see 45 followers right here. And there's no limit to how many trial reels that you can post. It might hurt the algorithm a little bit if you post way too much, but you can post 5 trial reels a day, which means that if you gain, let's say 30 followers on average per trial reel, and you upload 5 a day, that's a lot of fucking followers. That's 150 extra followers every single day from trial reels alone. And this is something that you're doing additionally to your already existing content. Our strategy with trial reels is basically just taking the best performing content that has the 2 highest metrics and videos that are proven to go viral in the past and just upload them as trial reels. Because the amazing thing is that these videos will not be shown to your already existing followers, only new people. And that's how you can gain so many followers from this. So let's do some math. If you post 5 trial reels every single day for an extended period of time, let's say a year, that means that you're posting 1,825 trial reels. And they are not gaining a massive amount of views, but they're all gaining like 3,000 to 5,000 views. And that amounts to about anywhere from 30 to 50 followers. Let's set it on the low side, which means that you gain 30 followers per trial reel that you post. That is 54,750 followers that you're getting additionally to the reels that you're already posting. I don't get why no one else is talking about this. This is nuts. And this is also how we will probably end the year at around 300k followers from doing this strat. 0 to 300k followers in a year of posting educational content on Instagram. That's crazy. Now you already have all you need to know to be able to go and crush it on social media. But I wanted to give you 2 more bonus tips. The first one is that you need to give absolutely everything. Don't hide any information. Just like I did in this video showing you how we grew like crazy in the last 3 months, do the exact same thing. Show everything you know, because only then will people actually find it valuable and they'll save your videos. And the last tip I have for you is don't fucking give up. And the reason I tell you this is because that's exactly what I did. This is not the first time I've tried posting on social media consistently. I actually had 2 runs before this where I posted like 40 times and then gave up. And only the 3rd time of trying again after giving up 2 times is where it actually started sticking. But I could probably be at maybe 500k followers right now if I just didn't give up back then. So please, if you decide to do this, just know that it can take a long time, but it will for sure be worth it. Because at the end, you'll have an inbox that's full of clients that want your service, which is an amazing feeling. Because at the end, your DMs will be flooded by customers that want your service. I hope you found this valuable. I'm trying to compress as much information into a little time as possible, so you just only get value. If you like this format, then make sure to give us up. Good luck. I remember when I was just starting out trying to get clients for my agency, I tried looking for YouTube videos that explained how to run ads from my own agency, not for my clients, but for myself, and I couldn't find anything. So that's what this video is. It doesn't matter what kind of B2B business that you are, you can use this system, this ad strategy right here, to get really good results running ads. We've even done this on Facebook, but also LinkedIn, Google Ads. It's the same system. But for this video, I'll show you in the next 10 minutes how to run profitable Facebook ads directly to your agency that will get you really good quality clients. For our agency, we've spent over 50k the last couple of years running Facebook ads, and they've been very, very profitable. You can see 11k right here, 28,000 Danish kroner, that's like $4,000, 6k right here, 3k right here, and I have like so many ad accounts I can't even keep track. But in this video, I'll show you how to actually run Facebook ads and what strategy we use in our agency to get the best possible results. I can explain the strategy in literally 1 minute. You will have one campaign where you're just farming clicks, and this is the targeted campaign. This means that you set some targeting for the people that you want to reach, and then you farm clicks. You get them to click on your ad, just be interested. You spend around 80% of your ad spend right here, because this is the initial touch point for your client. This is where they get to know you. And then in the second campaign, this is where you either get leads or meetings booked. And this is actually a retargeting campaign. And this is where you allocate around 20% of your ad spend. It's that simple. But what this means and why this is better than just having one campaign that directly goes to leads, it's that you run ads and a company, they see you, but they probably don't sign up yet. At least I wouldn't sign up if it's the first time I see a Facebook ad. But when they keep seeing you, they might even go to your website, then they keep seeing you everywhere. And you can even run retargeting ads on Google, on YouTube, on LinkedIn. All of a sudden, you seem like this huge company that's really established. And this is why that strategy is so fucking good. If you go to my agency website, for example, that we are running ads for, and you download the Facebook Meta Pixel Helper, you can see that we have retargeting pixel on. And this is basically just so we can capture lead information when they go to our website, and then we can retarget it on any other platform. And I'll show you how to set this up in literally 10 minutes. If you haven't already, you need to sign up for a Facebook business account, and you go inside of data sources right here, data sets, and you create a new data set. You just click create. Awesome. Now we have a new data set, and we just choose Metapixel only, and you click next. And for now, we just want to install the code manually. What this will give you is a Metapixel code that you can just copy, and then you can go to your website. This is high level. I have an affiliate link in the comments if you want to use that. I'll appreciate it. But this basically allows you to host a really cool website. There will even be a website template of my website on the link below. Then I just go into the website right here, the sites, inside of websites. And if you go to the settings right here, inside of the head tracking code, you can see I've already actually installed the Metapixel. I've also installed a Google Tag Manager, but this is where you insert the Metapixel code. You can see I've inserted it right here. After you've done that, you just click continue. Let me actually insert it so you can see it. You can insert multiple pixels, and then you just click save. When you set it inside of the settings right here, it's going to apply this Metapixel to all your pages, and that's what you want. Then you just click continue and turn this on, and you just click continue. And now you can set up tools, but we don't want to do that yet, and you just click done. Now you can see the website visitors test right here, and you can see the ID. What you can do now is that you can go to the website, and you just want to refresh it a couple of times. Then inside of the Metapixel helper, you can see we had 2 pixels before, and now we have 3, and you can see there's 2, 1, 2 pixel is now installed. You can see this ID is installed on our website. And what this means is that when people go to your website, now you actually capture this information. And this is very strong as well, because let's say you're running cold emails as well, or you're sending cold DMs on LinkedIn. If people search you up and they go to your website, now you capture that information and you can retarget it. That's why retargeting is so strong. And you set this up no matter what kind of acquisition channel you have. You go back into business settings and you go into data sources and the data sets. This is where we had the website visitor test. Then you need to connect the assets. This ad account is called Shiny AI Inc. ad account, so I just add that. So now we have the pixel live on our website. What you can do now is that you can go to campaigns. I'm inside of my ad account right here, and I just click create, and I create a brand new account. The first one that we will do is the clicks. So you click engagement right here, and you click continue, and then you want the manual engagement and campaign, and we call this campaign 1, so you just click next. I always, if I want to split test multiple different campaigns, I click add one, then we can split test multiple ad sets. Conversion location, you want people to go to your website, and then you choose the data set that you have just created. So this is the website visitors. You might need to add a pixel. After you've done that, you can click data set, so you can see the one we've just added, which is the website visitors test, and you can also see the ID. Then you can set up a conversion event, but we don't want that. We just want to insert a click. That is what we want them to do. We don't want to put them to book meetings yet. We just want them to go to the website. You don't set up anything else. For the daily budget, this depends on how much you can allocate, but you want to spend 80% of your ad spend on your campaign 1. So to get good results, this will probably be around 15-20 bucks a day at least. So we set it to 20 bucks. For the location, you can mark on a world map where you want to run your ads. We usually run them in Canada, in Australia, and in the United Kingdom, like that. For the audience, here's where you can actually target specific keywords to the industry that you want. You still want to keep it broad, but you can narrow your search. So if you click switch to original audience right here and use original audience, you can actually provide keywords down here in the advantage detail targeting. Age, you can change the age as well, and the gender. I don't usually do this. The only thing I narrow is the search. Let's say that I want to target solar companies, for example. That's something we have done a lot. What I can do is that I can insert solar keywords that might not be targeted by anyone, but that someone in the solar industry would be interested in, and that the algorithm, Facebook algorithm, knows that they're interested in. For example, solar panels, I can search for solar panel and see what comes up. Yeah, for example, solar panel. I usually use interest targeting to keep it very broad still, but still narrow my search just a little bit to give it an idea of what kind of person I'm interested in showing my ads to. And you can see here you have solar power, renewable energy. You want something that's only relevant to solar, right? That isn't too broad. This could be solar cell. It could be solar energy. Solar lamp might not be that good. Electricity is too broad. Let's see if there's any other good keywords. Solar installer as a job title. I only want to use interest up here in the right corner. Solar system, again, is too broad. It's astronomy, right? Not what I'm interested in. But solar energy and utilities, that might be interested. You want to choose anywhere from like 2 to 3, max 5 interest targeting, and then you're good. You still want to keep it broad. Here to the right, you want to keep it very broad, at least a couple million. This depends on your industry, but you can find words, for example, with roofing, then you can search for roofing and you can find industry-specific keywords. For the placements, I always just use the advantage placements, and then we go to the ad. Here is where you can split test different ads. I always call it like A1, H1 for ad 1, which is like the creative, and then H1 for the headline. And here you choose the Facebook page that you want to run it for. Let's just run it for my Shiny page. And you want to connect an Instagram account to that as well. Cool. You want manual upload, a single image, and then you want to paste in the website that you want them to go to. So this would just be your website. If you have a funnel as well, you could also send them directly to the funnel. That is actually what we usually do. So for example, this book meeting with us, that's where I always send them, because some of them, they will just book a meeting with you directly, and this can help them with that. Awesome. Then you get to set up the creative. I use a video ad. Site links I don't want, so I click that off and I click next. And here is where you upload your creative. Let me show you what creative that I usually use.
Are you a solar CEO? And are you unsatisfied with your margins in your business? Well, they are looking a little thin. What would happen if we got an AI to reach out to all your aged leads? To educate on energy savings, tax credits, rebates, and financing options, etc. For Solar Harmony, a solar partner of ours, we tested it and got 48% of the leads to respond and 11% to book a Solar Plus storage appointment directly into the sales team's calendar. Best part? This works so well that we are willing to get paid 100% on results only. We will code the entire AI for free, pay all the upfront costs of running it ourselves. So you only pay when a deal is closed and the cash is collected. Still a little skeptical? Why not try a conversation with our 100% free demo AI? Click below, drop your number, and the AI will reach out to you. Or you can go back to your cat videos. A little weird, but enjoy.
This ad has performed really, really well for us. And the reason is that we have everything they need. We call out the people that we want to talk to. We mention a pain that they have, the margins in their business. That's a really big pain in solar. And then we basically tell them the solution, what they can do to reach out to the age leads, etc., etc. And we also show them a case study of what the results they can actually expect. And then, of course, we give them an offer, which is that we build the entire thing for free and they can then sign up. This is the initial touch points. This is what sparks the interest. And this is how we capture the information. When they click on this ad, it takes them directly to our website where they can either book a call. Usually they don't. They just read some information and then they're going to keep seeing us. And that's why this strategy is so interesting. So what you do is you just take the video that you've created, of course, change it to whatever business that you're running. Inside of our completely free community with almost 50,000 members, I actually made a post that includes a Google Docs right here. And this Google Docs includes all of the ads we have run from our own B2B agency with the exact performance for each ad. So you can see the cost per click, the cost per result, cost per booked call. And you can actually, for all the videos, you can download them and use them for yourself. You're welcome. I'll leave a link to that community below this video right here. Back to creating the ad. I upload this ad right here. I click next, I click skip and continue. For this, I just want to make sure it looks good, just original, and I click next. And for the primary text, we can insert the text from right here. You can see the text I've used right here. We have an engaging hook. You can read this if you want to. And then I always enable these because honestly they're pretty good. And for the headline, we actually qualify them further. We want them to have a lot of age leads because this is larger companies. So I write this and I have a call to action to just try the AI demo. For the call to action button, we always include learn more, and I never include a description. And for this, I just click done. Awesome. Now we have our ad right here. You always want to preview it to see how it looks. I think it looks pretty good. This campaign score you really can't trust. And that looks good. Now people go to our website, and when they do, we capture it with our pixels. Some of them will book a meeting straight away, but a lot of them will just go to the website, which is what we intend. And I just click publish. Alright, that's the first campaign done. For the second campaign, we need to create an audience for our website pixel. So I go inside of business setting right here. I go to the data sources, the data sets. I click on the pixel that we installed right here, and I click open in Events Manager. Top right corner when you've chosen the website data set, then you click create and you click create custom audience, because now we want to create an audience from the information that our pixel is getting. So I choose website, I click next, then I choose the ad account that we have access to, I click next, exactly like that. Now I click create custom audience. Then you set audience retention. This can maximum be 180 days. So you want to set it to this. If you want to choose the website visitor, that we just create it like that. And for the audience, I just call it website visitors 180 days. We don't need to give it a description and just click create audience just like that. Awesome. We don't need to do any of this. We just click done. Now we have created a new audience that we can use in our campaign. The second campaign is very similar. I just click create. I choose leads this time. The other time we chose engagement, but now we actually want them when they are retargeted. We want to get them as leads so we can contact them with name and phone number. Call it campaign 2 and call it leads. I actually want to set the ad set budget instead of the campaign budget. So we change it to ad set budget and I just click next. For the new leads ad set, we call it retargeting campaign. I scroll down and I choose instant forms. I make sure that it's on my Facebook page. For the daily budget, we don't need to set this to a lot, maybe like $10 a day. This will give us really good results. And here we want to include our custom audience that we created. We don't need to set that much of a daily budget. $10 a day is fine. And if you scroll down, then you can see custom audiences right here. And this is where we can add the all website visitors 180 days that we just created. So I click on that. Now it will show our ads to this audience right here, which is exactly what we want. And this will give us lead at a very insane cost. Placements, we just keep it at Advantage Plus and I click next. And here we can actually just use the exact same ad that we used before. The important thing is that we just have multiple ads. So you want to split test multiple different creatives, just like I show inside of our document right here that's in the description. You can see how many different ads that we are showing, case studies, images. You want to show them a lot of different things with the same branding, because then you seem like a big shot. You seem like a really organized company when you keep showing ads to the same. So I will just add this exact same creative as before, and then I'll return back. So let's just add the same creative as before. I just click video ad, choose the same video just to show you, and I just click skip and continue. Original. Primary text, I just insert the exact same thing that we inserted before. For the headline, do the exact same thing. Include the variations like this. Again, call to action still needs to be learn more, and the description, we just keep that blank. Done, just like that. And now we want to include a lead form right here. Under the instant form, you just click create a form, and here you want to have more volume, and the form, we just call it what we're interested in. Solar companies, and maybe just June, and I click more volume. We don't want to include a greeting. You can insert a background image if you want to, but for now we will not do that. I haven't really found that it increases conversion at all. Just click continue, and here you can insert the questions that you want. Because you have already created some filters on the front end, like the interest targeting, we usually don't actually include questions in this form. But if you wanted to, let's say you got a lot of bad leads, then you could insert qualifying questions right here to narrow who signs up to your ad. But we include full name, phone number, and email. We don't make the phone number optional because we want to be able to call them. And I just click next. Here you insert your privacy policy and the text for the privacy policy, and you click next. And at the end, you want them to be able to actually go to your website and book a call. So insert your website right here. I usually write something like one last step, book a meeting with an AI expert, for example. Go to website, insert the link to the website. This call to action is book meeting, find a time, like that, and then create the form. Awesome. And then make sure that this form is created. Now we're done. We have the ad up and running, and I just click publish. Now you can see we have the two campaigns. So we have actually created both of these campaigns now, exactly like that. But you have one step left though. You can actually start seeing these leads inside of the Facebook ads platform. But if you're using something like High Level, I'll also show you how to set that up correctly. So if you go back into High Level right here, you can go inside of settings. This is on a sub account, and you can go inside of integrations right here. Then you can make sure that you connect your Facebook profile right here. I continue as Albert, and I choose the Instagram account that we want to connect. You can see this is the shiny one right here, and I click update and continue. Now we need to configure field mapping. So you just click right here, Facebook form fields mapping, and then you want to choose the Facebook form that we just created, which was the solar company's June. You map the fields, email, full name, and phone number like that, and then you just click confirm. Awesome. Now contacts will come from Facebook into your High Level account. What you can then do is that you can go inside of automation right here. You can create a new workflow just from scratch. We call this new lead. The trigger will be Facebook lead form submitted, just like that. Page is any, form is any, and I just click save trigger, and I click save. And here you can, let's say, give yourself an SMS. So you can choose the send internal notification like this, SMS. You can either assign a user or you can write custom number like this. Here you can insert your number, and then you can write you got a new Facebook lead with contact, full name, and maybe the phone. Because now you'll receive a text message every time someone signs up on your ad, so you can call them straight away and click save action, just like that. You could also send them an SMS message that just says, hey, first name, just saw you signed up. We'll give you a call in a couple minutes when I am done with my current call. That makes you seem like you're busy, which is a good thing. Awesome. All you do now is that you just click draft and publish like this, and now you're done. Now you'll receive a text message every time someone signs up on your Facebook campaign. You have this set up where the first thing you get is clicks. So you get a lot of people to your website that gets to know about your brand. And then after that, you have a retargeting campaign that shows your ads to the people that have already signed up on your Facebook. And then you have the second campaign where you show your ads to people that have already been on your website, because this is where you're going to get the absolute best results for B2B. If you want a 30-day free trial to the software that I'm using right here, which is High Level, there's a link in the description. And if you want to join and get the Facebook ads that I run, there's also a link description to our group right here where you can snatch that too. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I hope this was valuable. Sub for more.
Most people will think this video is about AI, but it's not. It's about freedom. It's about building a business that works for you and not the other way around. See, Albert and I, we didn't start an agency to get rich. We started it because we wanted to travel the world and work from anywhere with just a laptop and Wi-Fi. We didn't want to wait until we were 60 to actually start living life. We wanted freedom right now. and we got it. And the truth is, you don't need to be technical, you don't need to be a coder, you don't even need to be good at sales, because AI is so high leverage. You just need to follow the system that we've built and stay consistent. And if you can't stay consistent for a few months, I'm so sorry, but you honestly don't deserve it. It's not a get rich quick scheme, it's not lucky money. And I know it's super hard to believe at first, but you don't want easy money. You want money that's hard to make. You want to be at rock bottom, you want to earn it, and you want to show everybody around you that you actually deserve something. You especially want the failures and you want the setbacks, because at the end of the day, that's how you learn those lessons along the way, and that's how you become a better person and a more capable person. Everyone's saying that they want it easy. One, they won't get it, and two, they're lying to themselves. Over the past few years, we've helped businesses automate hundreds of thousands of conversations with clients, book thousands of appointments, and close deals they would have never gotten without AI, without even touching any of the conversations or doing any of the sales. We've done this from Airbnbs, airport lounges, coffee shops in Europe, conferences in California, and on scooters in Bali. So if you've ever wanted to make money without having to trade your time directly for money, this is the way to do it in 2025. We've already made videos on the technical product delivery, so in the next videos, I'll show you how to succeed in getting clients, selling, onboarding, and keeping clients on long term. All right, welcome back. This video is going to be all about how to build credibility for your early stage company. So setting up your website, getting a phone number, and having a way to charge your clients is an absolute must. So we actually decided to give you guys a website template, which is basically the website that we've been using all along. And it has our onboarding service in there, and it has our booking page in there. And it basically set up a website to look super, super legit. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna copy this link and insert it to your browser. And if you have Go High Level already, you're gonna see something like this, where you're gonna click on import snapshot to this account. But if you don't have a Go High Level account, then you're going to want to head over to the setup Go High Level guide here that Albert actually made, and he'll guide you through how you set up Go High Level. If you haven't set that up yet, go there, set up Go High Level, and then come back here. As you can see, we imported the snapshot now. Head over to sub account. So once you have the snapshot imported, you're going to click on add sub account. You're going to find the snapshot in imported snapshots. You're going to select and continue, press on add manually, and I'm going to fill this out real quick. Once you've filled out the initial sub account manually, then you're going to get taken to this page. And you've now applied the snapshot that you've gotten from us onto this sub account. So what you're going to do is you're going to switch over to the sub account that you've just created, and you're going to find the website under sites. The first thing you'll see is funnels. And under funnels, we've given you our booking page and we've given you our onboarding survey. The booking page, as you can see here, by clicking edit, is going to allow you to set in your own logo, and it's going to bring you to a Calendly page. So you can send this to your customers and they can actually select the time in your calendar. What you need to do is you'll set up a calendar and you have your own availability in there, and then people can actually book a time. And this is the template, so you need to make sure you're changing the company names, the logos, and then inserting your own calendar. And then we have the onboarding survey, which is for A2P. And depending on what country you are going to start phone numbers in, it's either going to be A2P or regulatory bundle access. And the information is often going to be the same, but what you can do is you can click on edit and it's going to take you to this page. And this is the onboarding survey that you're going to be sending out to customers after the initial meeting. And if you want to change any of the initial questions that you have here, you can click on edit survey, and it's simply going to take you to the builder where you can change anything you want. So yeah, this is the onboarding survey that we use in Australia and in the US, because those are the countries that we operate the most in. But yeah, feel free to change anything in here or use this as inspiration and create your own one, and make sure you can send it to your clients. And then finally up here, you can switch to websites. And this is where we've given you the full website template. This is the main page, and here you can add your privacy policy or your terms of service. You can have ChatGPT help you create those and then add them into here. But to check out the main page, click on edit. And again, this is a template, so you can add your logo up here, and you feel free to change any taglines, any titles, anything in here, any services that you're going to be offering. This is basically your website now. Update your logos, update your contact information, your business name, everything in here. Once you've done that, you click save and you can publish it to your own domain. So you can spend a bit of time going in, changing the website, maybe changing the colors, put in some logos, change a little bit around in what services you offer. And then once you've done that, what you want to do is head over to settings. And under settings, you want to go to phone numbers. And under phone numbers, you're going to go to add new number. So once you've found a phone number that you want, you proceed to buy. And then down in the bottom right corner, it's going to tell you what to do. And in this case, it's going to have you register for A2P. So once you've registered for A2P, Albert has made a video. It is on step 4, how you set up A2P. So again, depending on what country you're setting up a phone number in, this is going to be the guide that shows you how to actually set it up. So essentially what we've done now is two things. We've set up your website to have a booking page, an onboarding survey, and to look legit. And then we've set up a phone number for you to call. It could be outreach. It could also be for inbound. Basically anything that you would need when you have to communicate with customers in the country that you want to do business in. The last thing we need is Stripe to take payments, and you'll need a business to set up Stripe. And here you have two options. Most countries have an option to set up a sole proprietorship or an individual business for free, with minimal obligations. This is the way that me and Albert started back in the day, back in Denmark, and this is perfectly fine in the beginning. You'll use it for signing contracts. You'll also use it to set up A2P. However, if you're in a country that don't have this option, or you're in a country where Stripe is not allowed, you do have a second option. You can set up a company in the US. That way you can access Stripe, you can get a tax ID, and you can get a US bank. What I would recommend here is using services like firstbase.io or Doula. You can look into the different options. You can also do some research yourself, but essentially it's about setting up a company that will have access to Stripe if you live in a country that doesn't allow the use of Stripe. Now, once you have your Stripe account set up, this is how you create the payment link that you are going to be sending to your customers. And the way you're going to be setting it up is you're going to add a new product. So once you've clicked add new product, you're going to want to add a name. You can use something like checking card if that's what you want to do. The description doesn't really matter either. It's just about what you want to put here and how you want to sell it. Make sure that you do click on recurring. That way you're actually going to have the card on file instead of just charging it once and then needing approval every single time. So this will allow you to set up something automatic, something recurring, whether that's a retainer or that's something result-based per appointment. It's up to you. And then what you're going to put in, you're going to put in $1. If you put in $0, it's always just going to succeed. So it's not actually going to check the card. So that's why we have the $1 offer. It's actually just to check the card to make sure that it's good. You don't include the tax in the price, and you just set the billing period to yearly. And once you've done that, you click on add product. And then once you have the product, you're going to click on create link. And this link is just the link that you're going to be sending to every single customer to get their credit card on file. And once you have the credit card on file, you can set up the payment however you want. Just make sure that it's according to what you've already agreed on with the client and what's in the contract. So with you having a website set up with a booking page and an onboarding survey and general information, you having a local phone number and a Stripe account, this is the optimal setup for showing credibility early stage. And the reason we want to do this is because a lot of companies will want this type of credibility before working with you. So once you have a website, the phone number, and Stripe, you won't run into any of these initial early stage objections from customers, which means you're ready to make real sales on meetings. And that's what we're going to go into in the next video. This video is going to be about the initial sales call and the first meeting that you'll have with the client, where he's on to find out more about your services and what you're offering, and you're there to find out more about his business and his pain points so that you can position the AI to actually help his business. But before we go into the sales call itself, you want to make sure that you're recording every single sales call. That way you can listen to them again. A natural thing that's going to happen is that you're going to listen to the sales calls, see a lot of gaps where you're not explaining things properly or where you could have said something else, and just listening into it and understanding those things will make you a way better salesperson, will make you more articulate, and make sure you're asking better questions and drawing better conclusions as well. You can either record them yourself, or you can actually use this link. I usually use fathom.video. It just records all your meetings and then puts them on the website. I primarily use it to record meetings and ask for action items just to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. And then you can actually also make it write up the next meeting agenda depending on what was discussed and what was said on the meeting. Yeah, pretty cool tool. Check it out if you want to. Just make sure you're actually recording the sales calls and listening to them again. Now for the sales call, I've tried to keep as much scripting out of this as possible, because one thing that is going to help you immensely is do not go off the script too much. Because what you need to understand is a sales call is a framework. So the framework is getting to know where are they right now and what is the solution. And then of course there is the closing part as well. But once you get a hang of the framework instead of just following a script, that's also when you improve immensely and will be able to have better sales calls and sell easier. With that being said, I always use the same start. So I guess that is kind of a script. I always say, hey, thank you for hopping on. This meeting is just going to be figuring out if it would even make sense to partner up. So just a couple of questions to see if and how I can help you. And if we can, I'll let you know what we have to offer, how it works, and everything. Super, super simple. It sets expectations and it doesn't sound salesy whatsoever. So what you want to do is you want to set those clear expectations, frame it as a partnership, and that the meeting will just be figuring that out. Remember, you're not selling AI, you're selling outcomes. Businesses don't really care about AI, to be honest. They care about money and they care about customers. That's why we're here. So whether that's more sales, less manual work, more time saved, it doesn't matter. Just focus on the outcome. And then of course the tech is cool at some part, and that's what you go into in the demo, but just focus on outcomes. Now, the first question you want to ask them is, if they booked the meeting themselves, you ask them, what made you schedule a meeting with us today? And if they said yes to a meeting and you outreach to them, you can always ask them what interested you about using AI. And once you understand why they're on the meeting, you want to give them a quick rundown of what it is that you're offering and what the outcome is in one sentence. You just want to make sure that it aligns with what they're interested in. What I usually tell people is that we develop customized AIs and we add them to their sales process that engages and follow up with their leads to help find interested customers and drive more revenue. It's super simple to understand, and it's also a big part of the sales is actually getting across the table what you're selling and making it super clear to them. Besides that, we need to make sure that we're in control and we are the authority, we are the expert on the call. So there's two things you want to keep in mind is maintaining authority by being the expert and being the one leading the call. Think of it as an interview. Albert and I, we often refer to this as the doctor approach. And the reason why we call it that is because when you go to the doctor, he doesn't just give you some pill that may or may not help you. He asks you a series of questions to understand your situation. Like, where does it hurt? How long has it been going on for? To really narrow down the pain point and then provide the solution, the pill. You need to be doing the same thing and ask good questions and genuinely be curious. And by being genuinely curious, you're going to get more and more information. And with that information, you now need to put yourself in the expert position. And this is why we've made you build the AI first, because you're now an expert. You know how the AI works, you know how it gets result, and you can be confident in your own solution, which helps your sales immensely. Because at the end of the day, people, they buy from calm, confident expert and not needy closers. And understanding this will get you super far in sales and will make selling super easy as well. And usually how you do that is by asking good questions. So if you want to qualify somebody, these are some of the questions that we usually use. You don't go through them all. If you're at an early stage, I would say skip most of this. Of course, you need to understand what they do and what customers they're targeting, so ask those questions, but you don't need to overqualify here in the beginning. So now is actually when we start asking these questions that will give us the information that we use to conclude if we're a good fit to work together. The first question is, are you currently using AI in your business? And we obviously already know the answer to this, but we ask the question because it makes them instantly wonder if they should be using AI in their sales process. And then to understand how we can implement the AI into their sales system, we ask them about the whole thing. So asking them to briefly give us an overview of how they're generating leads and how they're turning those leads into sales. This is probably the most important question of the whole sales call. Once they've answered that question in depth and you've maybe asked a few more questions to get clarity, this is where you want to position the AI in their sales process. So an example of this could be, if we implemented the AI on all the leads that don't pick up the phone initially that your sales call is reaching out to, and then book them in with the sales team, would that fit into your sales process? So right there, we used the words that he used to describe his sales process back to him while we implemented the AI into it. And we asked them this to get a confirmation that they see the bridge between the AI solution and their own sales team. And if they don't initially understand that, we actually get an opportunity super early into the call to dig into why there is a bridge and how we can actually help them. Now we want to understand a little bit about their funnel and what kind of metrics and prices they're seeing in terms of their lead costs, because this is what we're going to use to price our AI. The three questions that we want to ask is, how much are you paying per lead? What percentage of the lead pick up the phone? What's your cost per acquisition? And the cost per acquisition question, you can leave it out if you are not interested in doing a revenue share deal. You can always ask it to get a better feel for their business or more information. But if you want to go for an appointment-based deal, you ask those two questions. And then you divide the lead cost with their response rate to get their current cost per call. And then once you've calculated it, you always want to confirm with them to make sure you guys are on the same page. So if you pay $30 per lead and 30% respond, you're paying $100 per call, correct? And they're going to say, yeah, something along those lines, or yeah, that's a good average. Basically, just get confirmation here. Because again, then if they don't understand, we want to just break down the math and show them how we actually got that result. Once we're on the same page here, we want to go towards the solution. I like to transition over into the solution by saying, appreciate all the answers, the interrogation is over now, because we just asked them a lot of questions and this always makes them laugh, which is always a great thing. But if that's just not your vibe, you can always just skip to the next step, which is concluding by saying that one of our clients had the exact same issue with the exact same sales process. You just want to make sure that you're very elaborate on the pain point and you explain the pain point back to them almost better than they explained it to you. And then before you show the demo, you just want to briefly explain what the demo is and how you will implement it into their current sales process. Then you want to walk them through a real AI conversation, something that you tested before that shows them something specific about their business and you know will impress them. And it actually doesn't take that much because these people are not used to seeing AI like this. So once you've shown them the conversation, you can let them try on their own, and they usually go through like a super generic flow, which is fine. It's just really just to make sure they understand it and see the potential in it. And they're going to be impressed even though it looks super generic to us. Once you've done this, if you have a case study, this is now you want to show it. You want to focus on the results, show a good and real conversation with a customer, and show a calendar that you book appointments into. And then you can also show an overview of campaign results where you include the response rates and the booking rates. And then after the demo and the case study, you want to ask them, what did you think of the AI and do you think this could help you convert more leads? If you see that they're hesitant, you want to ask them directly why they think it wouldn't work for their business in particular, and then address those concerns directly. And then once you get past the hesitation, you want to go into the pricing discussion. And once you go to the pricing discussion, you really want to emphasize and focus on the result-based model. Not only does it show a lot of confidence that we can do this without getting a super high upfront cost first, but it also shows that we're going out of our way to make it risk-free for them. And then once they understand that, you want to go in and make it clear to them that we are trying to lower their current costs, which in this case could be appointments, for example. So you'll say, we always aim to cut down your current costs. This is super powerful because right now you're comparing their current cost to something that would be cheaper. So it's very, very hard to say no. Another way to approach this, which could make the sale even easier, is to do a revenue share deal. And you can use the cost per acquisition number they gave you earlier and ask them if their usual cost per acquisition is $2,000, then you could do a revenue share at $1,000 or $1,500 per new sale. And then if they're hesitant in any of these two scenarios, you can always just ask them why. And then a really, really good question to follow up with if they're still hesitant is asking them how likely they are to close a sale on somebody that hasn't picked up their phone in a week. And they'll start to understand why it is that you do what you do. And then once we get a yes from them and once they understand the value that we're providing, you want to close the sale by pitching the pilot. Explain to them that you want to run a pilot with two different buckets of leads, which is their age leads and their newer leads. And then this is what I usually say. You can alter this to the industry and the offer that you have. But again, this is just to give you guys an example. And then I always just say, does that sound good? And then usually they actually say yes, because this is a really, really strong offer. And it's actually a really interesting test for a company to do as well. Once they say yes to the pilot, you want to send them the $1 Stripe link subscription payment. And then if they are hesitant, I have these two questions that I always ask and I love asking them. First question is, if you were to run the pilot, what would make you regret it? And it's a super good question because it often leads straight back to their real objection, which you can then address. And the second question is, what would make this a no? And this is a question I usually use when they need to think about it or if they need to address this with somebody else. If you ask this question, it usually always brings out the real objection that the business owner himself has. And then once you get past any objections, you want to tell them that you usually take payment on meeting and you'll send them a link now and what card they want to put it on. It's a super easy way to close it and it's a very natural way of closing it as well. And then once you get the payment out of the way, you want to set up a meeting. But before you set up the next meeting, you want to go through and set some expectations. You tell them that you'll go over the questions about their business and the contract on the next meeting. And if they need to pull any leads or data from their CRM, you ask them if they can have that ready for the next meeting as well. So you want to use this opportunity to set some expectations, and then you want to set up another meeting within 1 to 2 days. 1 to 2 days usually works best because it's early after the sale and you'll see way better results with 1 to 2 days than doing it a week ahead. I've added everything I talked about here into the script, so you can find that below. And then I've added a bonus. I've added all the objections that I usually get to help you guys not fumble as many sales. And trust me, it will still happen, but in this way, you'll be more prepared for it. And then you'll find everything you need to know about onboarding in the next video. This exact sales call led to a deal with one of the biggest solar companies in Australia. And I'm going to be breaking down exactly how I landed this client, what components of sales I was using, and what really made the sales call successful. Just going to jump right into it. No fluff, no bullshit at all. Hey, Reagan.
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm doing good as well. Where are you calling from?
I'm from Brisbane in Australia, mate.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been there, but yeah, it's a nice city. It's nice.
Where are you now?
I'm in Denmark.
Okay. What city in Denmark? You're in Copenhagen?
Yeah, right in the middle of Copenhagen. So
Perfect. I looked at the time zone when I was out. And I was like, what time is it for you now?
It's 1 a.m. But I mean,
okay, sorry about that.
I mean, I always work I usually go to bed like 2 a.m. 2 to 3 a.m. So I always work this time, with the people we're working with in Australia and in the US. It's just how it is, right? So
easy. Yeah.
That's the bad side of benefiting from a market in Australia or the US. That's just how it is, right?
Yeah,
So
sure.
yeah, it's great.
All right, so the first thing that we do right here is instead of just hopping straight into the sales call, you have to break the ice. Like that's how it is with literally every relationship that you will ever have. You have to break the ice. And a good way to do that, which I do almost all the time, especially when you're running a remote business, is just asking where people are from and where they're calling in from. And then anything that you have that you can relate. This could be anything that you've heard about the country, if you've been there, or if you know what the weather is like. Anything that you know, you can just use that. It's a good way to start out the conversation, and it shows that you're not just there to sell them something. You genuinely care about them as well. That's the number one tip.
Just to be honest with you, I don't know how much I can say about it, but we are working with South Korea that are owning all these companies. So working with the US department and also the Australian department. And then the reason behind the whole thing with is they are rapidly expanding B2B. So that's probably what is happening with your company, right? Is that you guys are a B2B company and their inside sales team is shrinking. So yeah, that's super interesting. So I think we'll probably end up working together some way or another.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
The important lesson here is establishing a bit of authority. You can do this by telling them how you've worked with similar companies, or also if you have one of their direct competitors that you've helped, maybe in another state or a company that has a similar setup. It's always good to kind of establish something that you've done before. You can do this many times throughout the sales process. If they have questions about different sales cycles or questions about how to get appointments and what sales systems work the best. So establishing authority throughout the sales call is extremely important, and it's actually what establishes trust in your product. Not so much trust in you, but it will establish trust in what your product and what you're selling, the outcome that you're selling. So in this case, for example, it's appointments, it's more sales, and the more experience that we show and the more authority that we show within that realm, the more likely it is that they actually believe what it is that we have to offer. And of course, why shouldn't they? Because we're talking based on experiences and based on knowledge. So establishing authority throughout the sales call is extremely important.
I really appreciate you taking the initiative to book the call. You know, very few people do. So yeah, I like when people take initiative. So
yeah, definitely. Look, it's one of those things that we've got maybe in terms of open random leads sitting in there like over 500,000, I would say. Yeah. Kind of as a minimum. It's one thing we speak about a lot, whether it's a high priority or not, about how can we reconnect, re-engage, and diversify the leads.
Yeah.
What steps can we take? And that's just where we were having a look and came across you guys, and I guess that's the point of this call, is to get a bit of an idea as to how everything flows together, answer a couple of questions that we might have, and see if it's an opportunity for us to work together.
So right here, he gives the exact reason why he's on the call, which is perfect. Sometimes you have to ask about this, where you just have to ask them, what made them book the call. This is the first thing that I usually ask people if they don't tell me themselves, is what made you book the call? What was interesting about this? And he gives the exact reason. So this is just what I'm going to focus on the rest of the call. And this is the exact reason why AI lead reactivation is so important, and also engaging new leads and making sure they don't fall into that bucket of reactivation leads, dead leads, as we also like to call them, is they have 500,000 leads that are just sitting in a database, and they have customers in there as well. Customers at this point that we've already done lead reactivation on, and the exact reason why he's on the call is because he wants to book in more of these people and sell to more of these people because they already spent the money on these potential customers.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm all for it. I was just checking kind of how you guys found us, and it's just really, you guys just looked at our website, or how did you guys come across?
I think it came through from I think someone saw an article written about you guys, and then it came straight through to the website. So I'm not the primary decision maker here, but for me, it was something that got kind of brought onto my desk because I'd found someone else who had contacted me on LinkedIn. And I brought that up, say, hey, is this an opportunity? And then they suggested, oh, there's actually another one that we've been looking at as well, or that we've seen an article for. So I was like, oh, cool. We'll just have a bit of a look.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
this was extremely lucky, actually. As you can see, the LinkedIn outreach works, even with huge companies like these. Somebody reached out to him on LinkedIn, and he brought it to the decision maker, and they actually saw an article about Shiny.ai on a PV magazine. And we got extremely lucky here. We had somebody that we know that was on our board. He knew somebody within PV magazine, which is a huge magazine for solar. So his boss saw that, and then he made Regan reach out to us. instead of that. So PR can be extremely valuable. So remember that when you have the opportunity to get your PR out somewhere, because in the long picture or in the short picture, it may not seem like it's that worth it, but in the long picture, it's small decisions like these that will actually make your company grow and more people will know about you. And the same thing is with content strategy. It can be very, very beneficial for, even though you don't see it directly.
Yeah, to really see if we could fit in. So could you just kind of run me through how you guys get leads, how you turn them into sales? Just very brief.
100%. So in terms of lead in catchment, so the majority of our leads that come through are just through Meta. So whether that's Facebook or Instagram, advertise unbranded is where we find the strongest quality. We're typically in a model that's higher volume rather than higher quality because we have a full in-house call center. So kind of on the other side of my computer, on the other side of the office is a team of 20 or so. There's usually about 20 people sitting. And they're doing high volume calls. So they make about 180 calls a day with existing data and the new data that comes through.
Okay.
And they book appointments for our in-home team. Probably 80% of our appointments are in-home with customers, with residential, with retail customers, and we have on-the-road salespeople. And the remaining 20% is with a phone sales team. So we've got 5 or 6 in the phone sales team who are, if an in-home rep doesn't close a deal, it'll go to what we call retention. It's not really true retention. It's more so just a customer service call. Is there any reason that nothing happened? Can we do a better deal? Kind of recoup a few of the costs and overheads that have been attributed already. But you'll find that same thing, 80% of our sales are happening on the spot in the home with the customer on the day, if not within the next couple of days anyway, or usually within a week. If it's after a week, most times the customers have fallen off. And then that's really, those are kind of our multiple channels that come through, and then it's into sale, then they push us to the install team for the rest of the way.
I really like that because what I think the main thing that we're looking for, and I'm just gonna open all the books, but the main thing that we're always looking for is a sales team that has a strong outreach model, because those are always the ones that are most successful with us. Because when we book calls, we usually have around 75% of people picking up the phone, but to really get higher than that, you need to be calling more times, right? Mm-hmm. So really having that consistent sales team is what we look for before we say yes to anything, right? So having that is super important. And yeah, of course, I'll show you the system later, but we've made it a little bit easier to follow up because we have a no-show button now, so that whenever a call doesn't actually pick up the phone, the reps can just click a no-show button and the AI will try and go for a reschedule while they also call them a few days, in a row maybe. But yeah, so they're actually getting followed up on from 2 different angles on that. So we've seen some improvements there, but that is really one of the key things to really succeed with what we're doing. Is, of course, we can provide you with the appointments, but if nobody's calling them, it's a little bit difficult, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So what we're doing right here is this is where the sales call actually begins. It's when we ask these questions and we have this genuine curiosity to how they're currently doing things. And we do this for 2 reasons. We do this, one, to qualify them. We have to figure out if they have a sales team, if they're actually calling their leads, and if the results that we would be giving them, if they would be able to capitalize on that. Because when you ask about their exact process, it shows that you're trying to help them. It doesn't show that you're just trying to sell them something, because making assumptions about their sales teams and assumptions about their numbers will not get you anywhere. So the goal is actually to ask so many questions that I understand their sales process so well that I could explain their current problem to them better than they can explain it to me. Because who better to solve a problem that knows the problem better than they do themselves? So that is the goal. By being genuinely curious, you'll be able to explain their problem to them better than they were able to explain it to you. And even if the problem is kind of similar to all of the other solar companies that we are helping, it makes it so that the problem and the solution is tailored to their exact situation and not just some sort of situation that they see. So this is what we do to go in and ask them good questions, and we call this the doctor approach. We do the doctor approach because when you go into the doctor, he's not just gonna give you some pill to solve a problem. He's gonna be asking all these questions like, where is your pain? How long has it been going on for? What have you tried to fix it? What are you currently doing to fix it? All of these different questions is something that will make your solution go in and fix their exact pain point rather than just fixing a general pain point or something that they don't really resonate with.
And then the call center, are they more of a qualifying process and then booking an in-home appointment, or are they informational? What's going on there?
Mostly qualifying, just to see, they're having that initial call. Like I said, we kind of typically go for a higher volume of data and then we'll qualify it later. We'd rather have more opportunity to speak to, understanding that we can train our call center to have the right conversations and get people in a buying mood, rather than trying to go for the highest qualified customers on a lower volume, knowing that we're going to have a higher conversion rate. Right.
Yeah.
So they're mostly just that entry level. They're doing that start of the process, qualifying the customer, warming them up, getting them curious, and then booking them in for most of the time an in-home, but sometimes a phone sale as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we work with maybe also something worth mentioning on our end is our solutions are very customized. So of course, it starts with what we know works, and then we'll sort of start building out. For you guys are getting a lot of DQs from what we're providing you. We'll start adding qualification questions. If you guys are starting to see a low pickup rate, we'll start adding interest questions to make it more conversational. So it's very much so. It keeps evolving to what the sales team needs. But what's really interesting is we usually get that people want more quality instead of quantity, right? So just wanted to get your opinion on this.
Before I ask this question, I just want to say what I just said right here is, again, establishing more authority. So what you're going to see is that your results with different companies will vary a lot. So of course, if we just have the assumption that your campaigns are semi-successful and you are getting interest, the client is happy with the appointments that you're setting, then there will still be different issues. So some companies, they will have a lot of people that no-show the calls. A lot of people, they will have people that DQ because of bad credit or bad shade or anything like that, where all companies, they will have different issues with the same product. So what I'm showing here is that we've been in the game for a long time, again, establishing authority. We've seen that a lot of different scenarios, we don't only know what all the scenarios are, but we also know how to fix each scenario. So we know how to fix DQs, we know how to fix no-show rates, we know how to fix quality over quantity, and we also know how to get quantity over quality. It just shows that we've been working with a wide range of companies and that we have experience in solving very specific problems when it comes to campaigns.
Because you also know the leads that we would be contacting in this case. So would they need to be, or would it be a positive thing to have them qualified on something? It could be, owning the home or credit
bill size or whichever it may be.
Yeah. Or would you guys prefer to just have appointments coming through and then really just having the salespeople qualify them or the call center qualify them?
Yeah, I think it depends on how what you guys do, fits in to how if they're coming through pretty much already booked, there would have to be a level of qualification that would happen. But if they're coming back through to the system just warmed up with a level of interest from from an existing contact that we've had with them in the past, then that can go to the call center with very minimal qualification. Because things change. Things are super dynamic over the years, right? People go from being in a position where their bill was too low, they have kids and move houses, and now it's double and triple.
Exactly. Okay, yeah, I like that. I think that's a very good idea. And yeah, we can always change it, right? There's nothing like, oh, you guys said no qualification. No way, right? So yeah, we can always change it, and really depending on what data we see, we're like the biggest nerds on the data part. Like we're gonna be after you guys on what you guys are seeing and who you guys are DQing and stuff like that, just to make sure that we can, because we've seen it all, right? We've seen all the data, and now we know kind of just how to fix it, because all companies have different data, which is the one thing that keeps changing for us. But once you've seen those same things happen once or twice, we can really go in and make sure that it helps you guys out as well. Okay.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I'm pretty big on the data as well in here. Yeah. Like, it's really my strongest position is being able to just look at data and figure it out and know where it's going. So
okay, I mean,
I have to say.
But it also depends a little bit who set up your guys' CRM and data tracking and stuff like that. Is that you?
No, I didn't set it up, but I've helped refine it over time. So the CRM system we're using is Pipedrive, which has got I've kind of just self-taught in using it. I've used HubSpot and Salesforce and stuff before in ways to have a look. We have in-house software developers. A lot of the ways that things transition and automate through that process is really smooth. It's quite impressive in terms of the data stack overall. But then in terms of just our reporting within Pipedrive, that's been largely me. I just kind of understand where the data moves and what's happening to it, just in a way that's easy for the layman to read.
Yeah,
I've set most of that stuff up. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, because then I'm a little bit comfortable with that part, because a lot of the times it's sometimes it's really like, oh yeah, the salespeople are saying it's fine, it's good, they're getting this this range of pickup rates, things like that. So yeah, it's very interesting, and it allows us to do a little bit more of a deeper dive when we have somebody really nerdy and really technical that sets up something super cool in Pipedrive or Salesforce or HubSpot or anything like that. So that's really perfect. That's really good. Okay, so what are you guys paying per lead approximately? I know you guys had a few different acquisition channels, but if we're just
So right here, we basically dig into their infrastructure. It was very brief, but Regan here, he's very good at giving just enough information. You could tell that he's used to dealing with people that are not very technical, and he has to bring things down to a super simple level. So what we basically covered here is that they have really good tracking, and they have CRM setups, and they have automation set up as well. And what we'll be digging into here is exactly the data tracking. So I basically just said that with the more data that we have and the more data we can track, the better our campaigns will also be. So we kind of find a common ground with Regan here. We both like digging into data because we know that it's going to be able to give us better results. So he said that he set up a lot of data tracking and automations inside of Pipedrive, which we would be able to use to get our campaigns more results. So again, this is a very perfect. You saw us getting a little banter going with the technical side of things. So it is great when you identify something that he has worked a lot on and something that you guys both think is valuable. Kind of stroke their ego a little bit. You know, it's not. I know it sounds bad, but it's really not. It's valuing what that company is doing. And it's a huge thing to have these systems and these processes in place when you've worked with companies that don't. So that's why we can go in, we can value his work and kind of stroke his ego a little bit and tell him that what he's doing is actually going to make sure the campaigns run better. So brief introduction to their infrastructure here. I actually didn't get the confirmation that I could use this person that's about to walk in. I didn't get his confirmation that I'm allowed to use his face. So what I'll break down real quick is we are getting into the sales part of the script where we ask about their details on their leads. And I can show you guys real quick what exactly I'm talking about. So this right here is exactly what I'm about to ask Regan about. And he just happened to have the marketing guy right next to him. So he brought him on to help me answer these questions. But yeah, we ask these questions so that we can price dynamically. And we'll also get that into the sales meeting just in a second. But what we have right here is basically for us to see if their funnel metrics are good and how we can price our AIs in terms of delivering value to them that they could consistently be able to pay for. An example of this is if they are paying $30 per lead for every single contact that comes in. But when I ask them what percentage of leads that pick up the phone, if they also just have 30% of people picking up, which is pretty standard, especially in solar, then that means they're paying $30 for a lead, 30% of them pick up the phone. That means they are paying $100 for a phone call. So, and if that's currently working for them, that's currently making sure they can invest into more leads, and it's making sure that their sales numbers and their cost per acquisition is at a place where they can continue growing. That means we can actually go in and we can sell the appointments within that range. So that is exactly what we're going to be asking here so that we can figure out what cost per call we're usually going to be able to offer. Because we usually take that cost per call and then we lower it with anywhere from 40, 30, 20%, depending on the price, so that they actually get their current cost per call, but at a cheaper rate. And that is one of the things that makes sure that these sales calls are so successful, is because we take their current cost, we don't just price on a margin. So on the meeting, we covered how much they're currently paying for a lead.
Do you have data on how many people and what's the percentage of people that picks up the phone when you guys call them?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, when you look at who comes in every week and over time, because it takes us kind of 4 days to fully rinse a piece of data. It's 2 calls a day for 4 days. If they haven't picked up on any of them, they'll just get put into a non-contact stage. But if they do pick up, typically they'll pick up in the first 3 calls. They'll either go into a positive or a negative section as well. So we can have a pretty good idea as to, having a look at when that data's come in, we can see where it's gone to understand what the ratio is. But we also have some self-built dashboards for the call center that I can see what their conversion to a 1-minute call, conversion to a 3-minute call, and then conversion into an appointment looks like as well.
That's pretty good. Yeah. I like that. So do you have a round of percentage on, I mean, I know it doesn't need to go into an appointment, but more so how many people pick up the phone? Just, I think that's probably going to be an appointment. That would be an in-home appointment, right?
Yeah. Typically, most of the time.
Okay. So yeah, do you know approximately how many people you guys end up talking to?
I'm stalling until I can try and find it for you.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I can. That's why I was trying to ask you, in a different way, in a little bit of a better way. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm jumping into that dashboard just to see if I can look at it. So you're looking just at kind of overall pickup rate?
Yeah, overall pickup rate.
Yeah, look, it's let's have a look. So I would call a pickup usually a 1-minute call.
Yeah,
and that's because someone will pick up and sometimes just drop it out.
Yeah,
if we looked at last week in terms of total calls, now total calls is going to be is going to include age data as well. So you'll find that the pickup rate will lower when we put in age data. But we have some age data that's still really strong because we put them into nurture piles. So I'm building the house. We're still doing some renovations. Call me in a month, call me in 2 months, whatever that may be. And we put it in those. Exactly.
That's very good.
So our presentation connection conversion. So it was 12.23% of total calls last week. So the call center made about 10,000 calls last week. 12.23% of those spoke to us for a minute. Whether they ended in a positive or a negative disposition, we're not looking at that. It's just purely the 1 minute call time.
Okay. Yeah. So given that it is also age data, it makes my sort of calculation in my head a little bit difficult because so yeah, it makes the calculation a little bit difficult in my head. But the reason that I'm asking the question is really just to make sure that we'd be a good fit, right? Because something about us, we don't have a fixed price. We like to price ourselves competitively, so we're not trying to achieve a margin. We're really just trying to see if it makes sense to go in and help you guys. So when I look at like 12% pickup rate and you guys are paying, you know, on average maybe $30 or $40 per lead, you're sitting at like around $300 per phone call, right? Which is outrageous. We would never charge something like that for an appointment. Just before you think I'm crazy, right? So that's
So what I'm doing right here is I'm breaking down the math for him. And obviously he had some analytics where they are also calling H leads. So we basically just lay down the usual calculation that we do, and we tell him that there is $300 per book call in this scenario. And then we make a little bit of fun, you know, actually try and make your sales call more fun. Like it works extremely well. It is also difficult, I will say that. But when you can make that other person laugh and show them that you're not just all business, you're just trying to sell them something, then it moves things. It really does. But in this case, I usually say this on all sales calls. I always say that we don't have a price that fits a margin. We price our products competitively. So that's why we take a look into your numbers, such as cost per acquisition, cost per call, these different numbers, so that we can make sure that we're a good fit to work together and that you guys would consistently be able to scale with us as a company working with you. And usually people really like that. They can really appreciate a company that doesn't just go for a specific margin, because that's what everybody does. So that's how we're different.
I'm trying to get at, right? So on that, do you guys think if we could take, you know, people that are just dropping out of contact with the sales team and then people that are aged, if we could take those and then turn them into an appointment with the sales team for around $60 to $70?
I mean, I think that is kind of where I feel like that you guys fit mostly with this as well, right? It's taking things, we've got such a large database and got things in piles that don't always get called because it's not the strongest set of data. Sometimes you can ruin a sales week if we were to put too much of an interesting data source, whereas that's where we feel you guys can fall into this. Pricing wise, it's obviously not necessarily up to me. And I think it'd be valuable to set up another meeting after this as well, once we get a bit of a rundown as to sort out the nitty-gritty, look at.
So what happens right here, and this happens with most larger companies where you have sales managers, is that, of course, the final decision is not down to him, but he does mention another call, which means that we are within a range that, you know, they can operate within and that he would be able to justify to the people that he will have to pitch this idea to. So this is a good sign that he mentions this next call, and we did a good job in terms of setting the appointment pricing within their current numbers, and yeah, it seems like they will be happy with $60 to $70 per appointment.
I guess from what you can kind of show me today is, how does it look like for you guys? Like, what is that process? What do you need from us? What access do you need from us to be able to warm up anyone we've got existing in there?
Yeah, for sure. So what I'll do is I'll show you the system real quick. That way you get a really good understanding of like, okay, what the hell is going on? What are they doing? So give me one.
Again, try to see if you can make them laugh. It works very well. But what I will say is you guys need to have some sort of demonstration. If you don't have case studies, if you don't have numbers yet, show them the AI. Let them try it themselves. Run through some questions where it showcases the skill of the AI. You know, there's a lot of different ways where you can make a demo very engaging, even though you're not showing a lot. So having this demo is crucial. So you need to find a way where you can show something. And especially also because AI can be kind of hard to explain to other people, because we want to sell an outcome. Like on this meeting, we've been talking about appointments and sales. We're not talking about AI, really. We're talking about an outcome. So kind of giving them an explanation visually by showing them the AI, and that connect between how that AI could achieve the results is extremely important, especially because AI is very new.
It's like a live demo. I'll show you an example that we did for a company, a solar company. So
Okay,
we
good.
have these messages, and what we're really trying to focus on during all this is really that I don't know if you've heard like if you make sure to make a message to everyone that doesn't seem automated at all, that's really how you get the results, right? So that's what we're really trying to do also with the AIs that we create. So here we can have different offers. We can also just have like a check-in. It depends a little bit, honestly. But yeah, we start with a message that it's just based there to give them interest, right? And then we're of course we're compliant with all the texting and consumer protection laws. And then the way that the AI works is really that it can take any question and it will always acknowledge and answer it. And then it's going to move along, keeping the conversation on solar. For example, you have the no out of pocket, no money down program. And then basically just asking, would it make sense to find out how much actually you could cut off your bill? So that's, an interest qualifier. So if they could find that interesting and they say, yes, we move on to like, what had you interested in solar in the first place? What's it say on the bill for the environment or something else? Save money and if it helps the environment in the process, that's great. Again, we always acknowledge. We found this so useful to always like acknowledge no matter what they say. They could be an objection, be concern, always acknowledge and then move along in the process. And then we have a call here, we have a 10-minute call. And then we ask, does tomorrow at 10 a.m. work for you?
Okay.
And he says, to be honest, I would prefer to be off grid, but not sure if that's possible. We power a lot here and being independent from the grid would be great. Tomorrow at 10 is good. And then we have the acknowledgement here again. So it says, losing power often sounds really inconvenient. I know how that feels. Being off-grid is an option for some, and solar with battery storage might be a path to consider. We can definitely talk about it. And then it just acknowledges the meeting for the day.
So what I'm showing right here is just a real example of how the AI operates. This is AI on the back end, but this is also a real person and a real conversation that turns into a real booking. So making that bridge between what you're offering and what the result is extremely important. And as I mentioned, you can do this in many different ways. It's just important that you do it.
From a sales representative, and don't get scared away because they use Google. They use Google Calendar. So I don't know what you guys are using.
Anyway, yeah, we use Calendly into Google Calendar.
Okay, perfect. That's perfect. So we can either do Calendly or we can do Google Calendar. We have our own servers on Microsoft, so we can do anything. I'm not the technical guy, but he says we can basically do anything as long as you guys have and as long as you guys have an API. And I know for Pipedrive, we've already done that. So we have documentation and we also know how to implement that as well. So that should be a problem. But this is what it's going to look like if they're using Google Calendar. So they're going to have the phone number and the name of the person that we're calling. And then if there are any concerns or requirements or anything like that, it's going to be here in a summary. So they're going to be informed every time they do a call. So they don't need to go in and check anything. It'll actually be in here if anything worthwhile was mentioned, right? So for this example, it's the customer initially felt they didn't see enough savings from solar at their old house to consider it again. So that's a pretty strong thing to know. Like, oh yeah, I know, that your old house wasn't really what you're looking for, and then you can kind of handle that in a way so that people feel like they have that. And then this.
I mean, for us, like we mostly sell based on the quality of system rather than the cheapest system possible. So it's
so just this example is great, right? But yeah, there's also a lot of them that's more like, yeah, sure, just give me a call. They're shopping around a little bit. Maybe it wasn't the right time. So yeah, sometimes there's not really a lot of information. Sometimes there's quite a bit. But yeah, so it's 50-50. But this is what it's going to look like on a management perspective. And we stopped tracking pretty much after we booked the appointment. So that's the integration that we're going to do with you guys, so that you guys get the rest of it. And then with the new rescheduling feature that we've done, we actually can also see pickup rate. So when we have people that say,
is there marking no show?
Product isn't working, but we're seeing that they have 99% booking percent or pickup rate, we're like, I don't think anybody's calling these people.
Yeah.
But
and so what I mentioned right here is extremely important. We're splitting two things up, and this is something that the VP of sales will be so happy to see, is that the more hands-off it is for him or her, the better it is. So the fact that we can go in and professionally split up the management side and the sales rep side is a huge bonus. So the fact that you can go in and say, here you have the management side of things and here you have the sales rep side of things. So just splitting those two up in a dashboard and conversations, and then having the other one, which is just going to be CRM or calendar, is extremely important, because it meaning that they can go in and they can see what's going on, they can see the results, and they can see conversations without having to go and ask the salespeople. it just makes sure that they understand that there's a good communication without them having to establish that communication.
Nice metric for us to be able to track now. It's been very, very different from what we've heard from different people, right? Because of their leads, obviously. But yeah, this is a campaign that we did on a year-old leads, so 12 months, and the majority of them were from a lead vendor that were purchased. So what we saw was a 27% response rate and a 1.72% booking rate. So from 14,000 people, we booked 248 appointments. And if we take a look at a different one, just to put it in perspective, this is a 5,300 campaign that we did. And this was mostly with self-generated leads. So the difference is not really the response rate. The response rate was slightly better. It's more in the interest and the appointments booked.
And the bookings, yeah, 100%.
Exactly. So the lead quality is like the biggest thing, and that's what's going to vary the most as well. But yeah, we saw very.
Is there any restrictions with what you guys can do in terms of campaigns and in the lead quality itself? Like, I guess the question is, like, if we were to say, like, we think it's best integrated by just going high volume, just setting up a bunch of data to see how it sticks. Is that something you guys are or aren't interested in? Are you more concerned about wanting to get the most appointments possible?
So this is really good right here. And what's happening is I just showed him the system. As you can see, it's the last tab of what I'm showing right here, and he has questions about it. That means he sees the idea and he wants to execute on it, but he also wants to get a bit more information to see where it's applicable. You know, he's in sales. He can see the idea with the AIs. He can see the idea with the bookings, the calendar, everything. But he wants now to understand it better. So there's two things that happen here usually is that people, they go quiet and but they still understand what happens. Or they have a ton of questions. And usually the better customer will always be the one that has a ton of questions, just like Regan here. But you also need to be able to capture the people that don't have any questions, really. So going in and asking questions about if they have any questions, and then take all the components that you just showed. So ask them, do you have any questions about the numbers that I just showed you? The way that we do the calendar integration with your sales team, or the conversations, or what's happening on the back end with the AI. So you go in and ask those questions, and then you find out if they truly understood it or not. And then it will also open up conversation to how it exactly is that you're getting them results, and they get a better idea of what you're doing. But this is the most optimal outcome. What's happening right here is that he is asking questions immediately without me really having to do anything.
So answer your question the best way I can is we're only paid for setting appointments, right? So that means everything that we do and the campaigns that we do, we're like, okay, why do you guys think that it would be a good idea? So we can kind of understand. And then we would in 99% of cases, unless you guys are proposing something outrageous, we would probably say, let's try and run a smaller test and see, are people interested? Are people engaging, or are they just getting upset, right? So that's probably what we would do in 99% of cases where you have a data set that's old or new or whatever. So that would probably be what we do every single time. So if they're 3 years old or 6 months old and they're from a different vendor, whatever it is, we will probably run a test to see, also really just to see where you guys should be spending the most time. So if you guys are seeing an amazing conversion rate on one particular data set, we should probably be focusing on that data set, right?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, this is Gen, about 6 to 8 months old, about the same amount of appointments booked than with the 14,000 leads. So yeah, it varies.
Yeah, like that's what I think that's why I brought up the question, right? Is because there's two opposite ends of the spectrum here in terms of
exactly
the data quality and what the preference is for you guys. I think we've got a few other campaigns that are interesting and we can operate in terms of retargeting existing customers and some other things as well that we can talk about down the line. Yeah. Now, in terms of access from us, so what are we actually giving you to be able to create these conversations? For example, are you integrating into our CRM? Are we sending a data list to you guys and getting responses back that interest back in? How does it typically work?
So it typically works by we set up your AI and we use our interface here. This is just a CRM that we use for chats and logs and getting phone numbers. So they have direct integration with Twilio, and you guys will get access to that if you want to see it. So if you guys want to look at the chats, you guys want to look at the analytics, you can. But what we're going to do is we're going to run a low volume test to begin with. So like 1,000, 2,000 leads, whatever we want to do. Low volume test where we're more so in manual mode, where you guys will just upload a lead list to us and we will give you feedback on that and you guys will have access. If you guys decide to say, okay, we actually want to continue this and we're going to bump up the volume, then that's where you don't want to be in manual mode, right? That's going to suck for everybody.
Okay, so what he's asking right here, again, it's really great. He's being proactive. He's already thinking about, okay, how do we implement this? He's probably thinking about a timeline as well in the back end. What is very important that we do right here is, what I do here is I am lowering the TTV, which is time to value. And you'll know once you've signed on a few clients that the quicker that you can give them value, the higher likeliness there is that they will actually get the first campaign running in the first place and that they'll actually go on with you as well. So we have these two options where we actually go in and say we're in manual mode, which is how we give you the results the quickest as possible. And then if we see very good results with the campaign, that's when we go into automated mode, where we explain how we integrate with their CRM and how we automate the whole process for them. But to give them the quickest value as possible, we are in manual mode. So this is what I'm explaining right here, and this is the reason that we do manual mode instead of just setting up everything automated in the first place.
That's going to be completely free. So as I mentioned, we've done integrations into most. So usually we do a two-way integration so that you guys can push over leads automatically, and we'll push back opt-outs, and we'll also push over appointments. So you'll have the appointments in the CRM again that are new, so you can track those, and we'll also push back opt-outs so that you guys are not breaking any DNC law.
Yeah, fair enough. I was curious a second. So obviously, to start with, we're doing a manual lead upload, right? We're just sending over lists and whatnot. What is the information that, like, from the leads, what information do you need? Just name and number?
Name and number is like the bare minimum. We can use any data points to create conversation. So sometimes we've seen data points where the subscriber took notes about what they spoke to them last time about, right? And we can really use that to personalize it further. But the only thing that we really need is name and phone number. And then something I would recommend, if you can get, is also dates, so that we really look into
deal create, like how long we've had it.
Exactly. So if we're just seeing that they're 2 years old and that's just when everybody wants to buy, we're going to focus on those, and we're going to focus on that user first. So yeah, those 3 data points will be plenty.
Yeah, that's fine. Some of the things that we look at when we're looking at strength of data is like its source. Where did it come from? How old is it? Where's it been? So where's it been dispositioned as? So once it's been seen in home, gone to the call center, set up wherever it's been, where's it currently sitting? So that'll give you guys probably an idea of strength of data as well, because we'll be running lead campaigns based on disposition points at the end point data as well. So yeah, cool. Okay, well, I think that's one thing that we've been curious of, and again, open book stuff is like, how much access to our data have you got, and what kind of privacy do we have based on that as well, right? It's a bit of a sensitive topic to think, well, if we're up and running, we would have a 10,000 lead campaign that comes through. What's the risk to us to say, well, oh, cool, 200 appointments came back, but maybe it was 400 appointments and we didn't see the other 200, for example. Like, is there, what kind of privacy and risk do we have in the future too? Just in the essence of being open and transparent.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know if I'm clear enough. Just want to make sure that I was. You guys are going to get access to our, full access to your CRM, right? So you're going to be able to see your leads, all the chats, and then also the appointments booked. And if you want as well, we can also show you how to see log. So what you can do is you can actually upload the leads yourself into the CRM, and then you can export logs.
Yeah. It's pretty simple.
It's nice to have, right? I mean,
yeah.
But you're cheap, right? And the other thing to privacy and data is we have a clause in our rural agreements. If you guys have PAs or LPAs that you want to send over, completely fine. You can sign those and make sure they're overriding whatever offers say. But we're basically not allowed to share or sell or do anything with your leads without your written permission. So that's a big one, right? Oh, I gave permission on the Google Meet.
Oh, somebody on the phone. Yeah, exactly.
No. So we have that.
So what he's referring to here, and this is going to be a concern for almost every company. Some companies that it's almost a red flag if they don't have a concern about sending you their leads, because it may just mean that they don't really care about them anyways. So this is a really good thing as well. I mentioned 2 things here. They will have access to see all the conversations and all the appointments and everything going on inside of the CRM, which of course is very transparent, and that's what we're aiming for. We're basically showing here that we are fully transparent with everything that we do. And then the other thing that I mentioned as well, which you can also find inside of the templates, we have an agreement template in the Skool community under Resource Vault, so you can find it in there. But we have a clause inside of our agreement that says that we are not allowed to sell, transfer, or otherwise share any data unless explicitly written in writing. And the last part is very important, because as you saw on the call, if you said it over the Google Meet that we could share or sell your data. You need it in writing. So this is also something that is extremely important. And the other thing that I mentioned, which is a great way to make it seem like you know what you're talking about, is once you get in touch with some of these bigger companies, some of them, they will have something that is called a DPA, which is a data processing agreement, which basically just outlines how you are able to process their data as a third-party vendor. So just mentioning that and saying, we are fine with signing any data processing agreement that you have for us to overwrite the current agreement is the number one way to just say, we want to be fully compliant and we want to be as transparent as possible when it comes to your data. And it's a priority for us to make sure that your data is safe and that we're processing them in a correct manner. So yeah, DPA, data processing agreement. Tell them that and you'll be fine.
Agreement is canceled or terminated. We delete all your data within 40 days. Very simple stuff, but it's nice to have in place, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's cool. Sweet. Well, look, I think I've got a good understanding. I do think it's going to be worth having another conversation with one or two other stakeholders in business to talk some nitty gritty. I'll give them the rundown as to how it all works. Could you do me one favor? Sure. If you're able to, only if you're allowed to, send me a screenshot of how that campaign page looks like, just so I can just show them that the timeline looks. If there's anything sensitive, don't send through. But if that's cool, yeah, just so I can kind of show them, hey, this is what it looks like. This is how they report on it, and it will also help me have that conversation around property as well.
Yeah.
Just that bit of just
a really cool thing that I'm just thinking of, and I didn't have this back when we actually talked to somebody similar like you that has to kind of give some information over. So if I could just, I don't know, if you have a hard stop here in a second, or are we good to?
No, you're right. Go.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
This is fine.
So you see how I'm taking.
I'm concerned about when you go to bed.
Nah, man, I can sleep in. I'm my own boss, so I can sleep in a little bit, right? Okay. No, it's fine. I go to bed late every single day, so that's no problem at all. But yeah, you see the note taker that I have here, the one in the middle.
Not presented at the moment.
Oh, so it's just a call. It just said recording and taking notes.
Oh yeah, of course, right.
So what you'll actually get there is
a summary.
It's you'll get a summary, but it's way cooler than that. So yeah, here's something that won't expose anything crazy. This is a meeting with our marketing, but because we have so many companies in here. But yeah, it's really cool because you get a summary here where you can see everything, right?
Yeah.
And also it'll send that to you as well. All you can do is you can ask Adam, right? So you could say, what was the
what was privacy? What was yeah.
It's really great. It's really great. So you can actually also view. I'll make sure to send you the screenshot as well, so you can view the whole meeting in there. It's recording and everything. Super cool. I recommend it to anybody that has difficulty with notes. So yeah, I'll make sure to send it to you. And then if you have any questions, you can of course reach out to me. I have my number. You've been very responsive to the follow up. I love that.
I knew that it was because you were going to be up at like 1 a.m. having a conversation with you. So I was like, he's probably thinking, I want to go to bed. I wonder if this guy's going to actually answer the call.
No. So, in secret, the secret sauce is it's completely automated. Everyone goes through that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's fine. So perfect. So I'll send that over to you. And then should we set up a tentative time to talk maybe sometime this week, or how do you want to?
Yeah. That's fine. Look, I'd say if we have a conversation, it would either be kind of Thursday or Friday this week, if not Monday or Tuesday next. That's going to be the range. That's
perfect. So do you want to set a tentative time, or how do you want to go about this?
Let me have a look at the other calendar. We're at mercy of another calendar than mine.
So what's really important right here is making sure that you set up this other call, whether it's literally just a phone call, it's a check-in, put something on the calendar with them. That is the most important thing, because not only does it make sure that they have to go in and they have to cancel or they have to explain themselves if they don't do it, but naturally it sets a deadline for something. So of course he has a ton of things that he has to fix throughout the day, projects that needs to be taken care of. So if there's no deadline on a side project like this, it makes it kind of a non-priority thing. So if you have a meeting on Tuesday at 10 a.m. and you have to have some sort of reply ready there, it becomes a priority with time. So that is the reason that you always set a call, is because it keeps the partnership kind of running, and it also just makes sure that there's a natural deadline to what we're doing here.
You can do the same time on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And same
Yeah.
time. Does that work?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That'll work. And then that works perfectly, and then we should get something in. And I'll just let you know, even if the chat was automated, I'll see if I send it back to it, it'll come through just to see if we need to reschedule. I'm sure you'll follow up a couple of times anyway.
Yeah. Let's make sure. There we go. I think I'll just invite you to a meeting. I don't think you'll get any crazy follow-ups this way, but
yeah, that's fine. Chuck that in, and I'll have the conversation, and we can go from there.
perfect. And then one last question from my side.
Yeah.
I know you guys. It was very apparent to me that you guys reached out because you have a very large base, which I think you really focus on. But one thing that we've seen really good results with is actually plugging in what we do, slightly different AI, slightly different messaging, but plugging it in 48 hours after the first phone call has been made by the call center, the sales team. That way, we're able to get insane results. So there's going to be like that. And we can actually lower the appointment pricing as well on those appointments. So that way, you avoid them becoming aged, and you actually get them at a cheaper appointment price as well.
So what I'm doing right here is, notice how I throughout the whole call focused on the reactivation of old leads, because that is why he was on the call. But that doesn't mean that it would be a bad idea to also focus on some of their newer leads. Again, notice how I sell outcomes. I sell the 2 outcomes that they can get cheaper appointments, they can convert more of their newer leads, and they can prevent more of their new leads from actually going aged. You sell the outcome, and you make sure that you focus on what's in it for them, which is cheaper appointments, more sales. Who wouldn't want that? And I waited until the last second of the call because Regan, he said that he already had some other campaigns in mind, and that it could be beneficial to dig into those. So already opening up that exact proposal right there is very essential, because it sets the expectations. Some of the clients that we early on, big mistake that we did was we didn't introduce these campaigns on their newer leads as well. So it was very difficult to then switch them over or also try new things. So making sure that that is in there from the beginning is actually very important, especially because what we found after a lot of trial and error is some companies will have bad leads. And unfortunately, that is just the case. So if we can make sure that when we run campaigns that we take a batch of their new leads and a batch of their old leads, we can consistently get good results with almost all companies instead of just relying on their aged leads. So when you can, you can also do it at the same time. Say that we're going to run a batch of your new leads and a batch of your aged leads. It's a great way to make sure that they hear that you know more things and that you can provide more value. And it's also a way for your company to be able to scale more consistently, because bad leads will bring volatility, and it's going to get a customer in and it's going to get a customer out. But if you can consistently show good results to all clients, whether it's new leads or aged leads, you're going to continue growing, which is what we want.
No, we could kind of take it one step at a time, especially if you're bringing in stakeholders. But if you would be open, we could test where we both draw in 48-hour leads and a batch of old leads.
Yeah, I think that was something I was considering as well, right? When we went through eight calls and with no contact, that's where I thought maybe the first manual data set, could work well. It's fresh, right? It's recently come in. It didn't answer the call. People, of course, get complaints about people not answering the call and just put their name and number in. I said, how many random calls do you answer?
Yeah, exactly.
So I agree. I think that's a good spot to start as well.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, we want to do both. Right? We want to show you exactly what your gold mine of leads can do, and then we can do that maybe you guys aren't doing already with the next part, right? And
perfect.
I know you probably already know this because you're in sales, right? But the primary thing that makes our product really good is that if we book calls and we have around 70-75% rate, we can really make sure that the sales team is focusing on selling to and calling interested people and having those conversations, rather than doing this follow-up and outreach to people that are not picking up the phone, right?
100%.
So what I'm doing here at the last part of the call, I'm really just concluding with the biggest positive thing of the call, and just making sure that the value proposition gets across the table, really. So just making sure that we're on the same page, that this is something that actually will work. So if he says that he doesn't understand that, or if he doesn't agree with that, that's a perfect way to just kind of dig into his objections. So concluding the call with making sure that that they understand the value proposition and they see it themselves, and you seeing that they understand that is essential, because that's when you can go in and you can make sure to actually address some of these concerns before you leave them alone to wonder.
You know, it's can be a little bit difficult to have a great meeting here at 1 a.m. This was actually
Good, man. I appreciate it. Look, I'll have that conversation today with a couple of guys in the office, and really only one, maybe two, that would be having a conversation to learn a little bit more. And they might have some more probing questions. I've covered a couple of things they were concerned, and also some of the things I wanted to point out. Have those conversations with people, and I'll let you know if they're going to be easy.
perfect. Yeah, I have full faith in you that you're gonna be able to handle all the difficult questions.
Yeah, man.
But thank you. That would be
Easy.
nice. That would be really good.
Okay.
Do you think just one question? Do you think what would kind of make the no for them? Do you know, like something that's
Look, even pricing wise, it's not that it's not bad. It falls into the market. That's always number one. Is what budget do they allocate? You know, something like this, and how it can work. The only thing that wouldn't make it no for you, but it can delay the process. I don't know if it's happened with other businesses you worked with. Is it just a conglomerate and there's a lot of stakeholders sometimes outside of where the installs things just take a little bit of time. The decision can extend a little bit longer than preferred. So that's something that I would be wary of. And then the other one was the privacy thing that I mentioned.
So this is my number one go-to question. Even if there's no stakeholders or other people that needs to get involved, if people are on the fence about doing something like this, asking them what would make this a no is fucking brilliant. It's insane, because it just brings out their concerns. And as you see here, the only things that Regan is concerned about is the pricing. And he even says, when I bring this, it does sound fair. So he has no problem justifying the price. But then he brings up the two other concerns, which would be when you bring in stakeholders, it takes time. So this is really more about addressing something that he doesn't know if I know. Like he doesn't know if I know that this could take months, and it did. So props to him for telling me. But yeah, these are the concerns that he has right now. It's privacy, it's pricing, and it's stakeholders. And it's really just about, for him right now, to make sure that I understand that, which is perfect. He's not coming up with, I just don't know if the privacy policy is strong enough. That could be a huge no, because that says that he already knows that the privacy policy is too weak. So that would be a red flag for me, and I would know. And I would go in and say, okay, I see what you mean. How can we make sure that the privacy policy is stronger? What are the things that you guys are looking for? And that would make sure that I could go in and I could handle that objection. But this is really a perfect way to finish off the sales call. It shows that he doesn't have any objections and he doesn't think that they will say no. But there are, obstructions in the way that we have to get over together. So yeah, really good way to finish it off. And asking people what would make it a no is a great way to just bait out the last objections.
Just a question: do you guys do quality risk management and due diligence? Yeah, sure. It's really fun to go through them. First it was very eye opening. Like, holy shit, gotta know all this stuff.
We won't be incredibly invasive, but it's one of those things that sometimes there may be a larger stakeholder that has a question, right?
Yeah.
They'll find something out how to do that kind of stuff. But we'll try the path of least resistance.
Perfect. That's that's always preferred, but yeah, you never know. So yeah, then I didn't really get to really come up with a strong offer, because you kind of wanted to lay that down for later. But just something, if there is any pricing, what we usually say is, like, it sounds like you already think it's really worth it with the $60-$70. But what we can do is, whatever we land on for the first initial trial, 1,000, 2,000 leads, whatever we want to do, we can actually just lower the price by 50%. So that way, no matter what kind of appointments they are, even if their pickup rate is like 30% or something, it'll still be something good for you guys. So it's a bit. So
So two things I did right here is I heard that the privacy thing, might be an issue. And I just gave Regan some information. I told him that we had already gone through due diligence and third-party risk management processes, which is something that really large companies, they do, larger than these ones. And him just being able to say that, going into the stakeholders and saying, oh, they had they asked us about the DPA and all these things. Him just being able to say they went through third-party risk management before, and their privacy policy seemed great. That is just something very, very much more simple than having to break down what was talked about on the sales call. And the second thing is what we learned when you bring on third-party decision makers, stakeholders. Them taking a look at the big picture is sometimes very hard for the sales manager, just get a yes, because things may be uncertain. So a way to avoid this uncertainty is by saying that the first initial test can be with a 50% discount, which just means that if the pricing is $70 per appointment, all the appointments during the test period will just be $35, because that just makes it a no-brainer. And the less people have to think about, oh, should we do this? Shouldn't we? What kind of risks are they? If all the appointments are trash and they're $70, we're gonna lose a ton of money. But even if the appointments are kind of trash, but we pay $35 per appointment, it's a no-brainer. So getting these no-brainers in, especially when you know that the person you're on the meeting with has to communicate with something else or someone else, is key.
We can go to like pricing stuff on the next one. A conversation to see what I think is fair, isn't fair, and what. Well, it's like I'm very blasé about it because it's my decision on what's fair and what's not. So it's it's all good.
It's not your credit card on the bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect. Okay, really appreciate the time again. And then yeah, look forward to talking here on Friday. I'll make sure to start the meeting. What time? Just a question. What time was it for you when we started the meeting?
It's 10 a.m. for time.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll make sure to send that, and then yeah, I appreciate you hopping on. And
yeah, look, we'll see. We could even bring it forward an hour and say so it's only a bit like for you instead of 1 a.m. We could say 9 a.m. Brisbane time, right? Is that going to work?
We can do that.
Is that easier? Is that easier or worse for you?
It's neat. I mean, it's completely it's better because I just
Let's be nice. Let's do the 9 a.m.
Yeah, perfect. Let's do.
One thing I will say, in general, if you are in Europe or if you're in Australia working with US companies, anything like that, if people they ask about your time zone and they try and make it seem like a problem, just kind of like I did, just make sure that they understand that is your day to day and that is just how you handle things. Even though they would hate to work at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., it's something you do because you want to make it work. And what Regan is doing right here is the opposite, right? He's just asking, he clearly doesn't see it as a problem, and he's just asking if it would help me to move it slightly. But so that's not a problem at all, and that's really nice of him. But if people start asking like, it's 1 a.m., can you do that? And like, how would that work with the partnership? Does that even make sense? Just make sure that you clarify that this is your life and your business, and you are happy with it. And you normally go to bed at 2, 3 a.m. and it doesn't matter, because then they won't see it as a problem, because then they could have this objection in their mind like, oh, because he's going to bed at 2 a.m., he's not on a normal day, he's not going to have time to go on calls, or they're not going to be available when I want them to be available. Just make sure that they understand that's not going to be a problem.
Hopefully, we're going to be working together for quite some time. It's not going to be a problem to have meetings, right? Just so you know as well.
Appreciate that. I'm just trying to be nice. So.
Yeah, I appreciate it as well. So that's good. It's always good to see. But yeah, I'll schedule it in for midnight my time, 9 a.m. for time. I'll send you over an invite now, and you can pick anyone that you want.
Perfect. Man.
All right, perfect. So, as you can see here, this is pretty much the full sales call. I try not to give you an exact script for everything, because I just know that if you learn it by a script, it's not really going to stick, and you're going to have a difficult time in different scenarios. So I put all of this together. I put some examples with scripts in here as well. So that should give you a really comprehensive, and good view of how these conversations usually go. We also have all of the objections in here. All you have to do is you have to go into the Skool, you have to go into the classroom, and then pick the 80% close rate machine and the sales call that converts, and you'll find the script right in here, and it's going to contain everything. So go in, use that to close 80% of your leads, and hopefully I made it just a little bit easier to understand what these conversations usually look like, and yeah, then put it to good use, and once you do, don't forget to post a win on the Skool when you close a client or when you make your first 10K from one of these campaigns. It's awesome to see, and we feel so fulfilled helping you guys out with these different things, because we see the results. You guys are really good at letting us know that we're providing good value. So do let us know once you guys close clients and when you use our scripts and stuff like that. We do really enjoy it. But yeah, if you watched all the way to the end, you're a legend. A lot of people won't be able to sit through this. So yeah, really appreciate you for being here. And yeah, hope you can put it to good use, and then hope it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, let us know on Skool, or look at our Instagrams. You know, we do make videos about this stuff as well. So yeah, appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Alright, welcome back. This video is going to be about the whole onboarding meeting, and I've made sure to zoom in this time. Sorry about the last video. Hopefully you'll be able to see it perfectly fine here. Essentially what the onboarding process looks like is we want to get their business information through the onboarding survey, then we want the contract signed, and then if you haven't collected the $1 Stripe payment yet, that's fine, but this is the meeting for it. Then we also want to dig a bit into their technical setup, meaning what CRM they're using, what calendar they're using for appointments, and if they have any promotions that you could use with them, or if you guys should create one together. When onboarding, you have two different types of clients. You have ones that are super motivated and proactive to get started right away, and then you have the ones that are more slippery. They think they're very busy, and they're quite difficult to get onboarded. A good approach to capture both is send them an email right after the initial sales call with an agenda for the next meeting. The idea is that we take the lead and we make sure that we're super clear about what the next meeting is about. Plus, it also makes the whole process look a lot more professional. And if they want to be proactive, they can fill out the onboarding survey and they can look through the agreement. But if they're not proactive, they will just have the email ready for them in the inbox when you guys are going on the next call. So now they either filled out the onboarding survey or they didn't. And either way, you want to pull up the onboarding survey, either the one that they responded to or the blank one. And then you want to go through it with them to make sure that they didn't misunderstand any questions and that everything's good. You'll find the onboarding survey under site or website and go to surveys and then submissions. And then you'll see them in here. If you have multiple, then you'll find the onboarding survey in here. And then once you have the onboarding out of the way, ask them if they had the chance to read through the agreement. If they did, then ask them if they had any questions, and if they didn't, which is way more likely, then just tell them take 5 minutes to read it, no rush at all, take your time, and then tell them that you sent them an email with the agreement in it after your meeting last week and help them pull that up. Usually they don't really have a lot of questions about it. It's quite a simple agreement. It's really just formalizing what you spoke about on the initial meeting, but just make sure to clarify or address any questions. Now, once they've looked at the agreement, if you haven't taken payment yet, there's no reason at all that you shouldn't be able to take payment now. So send them the link. You either saved it or copy it from Stripe like I showed you in the last video, and tell them that while they fill out the link, you're going to get the contract ready to send to them. What getting the contract ready means is you take the information that you got from the survey and you put it into the contract template. And then once you've done that, you can send them a DocuSign, which is a bit more formal and 100% legally binding. But to be honest, in the beginning, Albert and I, we just signed most of our contracts on the computer, and our clients did the same. You can use Adobe Acrobat if you're on Windows, or you can use Preview if you're on Mac. And just to show you, this is where you'll put in their information. So by going into Preview and using this button right here, you can actually sign the agreement. And then you can put it in here, and then once you save it, it's applied. And then you'll use the same button to type in your name and your title. And then once you've typed in the information, make sure to save it and then send it over to them to do the same thing. So now you should have gotten all their company information from the onboarding survey. You have a signed agreement and the payment link is filled out. So the last thing you need depends a little bit on what kind of deal you're doing and can vary a little bit from company to company. If you need any integrations into their CRM or their calendars, this is where they share access to your email. And if they're sending you some of their leads from their database for you to work on, this is also where they send over the data as well. So now you should be all set from their side. If you want to give them access to the conversations in ManyChat or Go High Level, ask them what email they want to use to log in. Then send them a brief 30-second video on how the system works, where they can find the dashboard, where they can find the conversations, etc. Now you give them a time frame on how long it will take for you to build out the AI and also build out the system, and then you schedule a check-in with them around that time. I usually tell them that we set a meeting between 5 to 7 days where either everything is ready to go or I'll have an update for them. We don't need it to be within a few days this time because we have all the commitment we need from them at this point. So you can take your time with getting the AI ready, getting the system ready, and then the next meeting will just be about finalizing any details if needed, and then having that final meeting before you actually launch the campaign. So that's what the next video will be about. Alright, this meeting is going to be the final meeting before you launch the campaign. And this meeting should be super brief. It's really just a check-in. We call it the pre-campaign and integration meeting. We use this meeting to double check that everything we need, such as contract signed, payment link filled out, and that they sent leads over if that's the part of the deal. And we can also run a check on the integrations that we made into their CRM or their calendar. You also want to make sure that they have the login information for ManyChat or Go High Level to see conversations, and that they understand the platform and they watched the video that you sent them. Now you want to give them an update on the development and tell them when you expect everything to be complete. Whether it's ready for launch now or in a few days, just set clear expectations around when you start the campaign and when they can expect to see results. Once you've set clear expectations, set up a performance meeting where you'll go over the AI conversations and the results. And we usually set this meeting about 5 to 7 days after we launch to give the AI some time to generate results. The performance meeting is probably one of the most important meetings because it's going to define the partnership and decide if they want to continue running the AI services that you're providing. So in the next video, I'll show you how to run a successful performance meeting. This video is going to be about the performance meeting. One important thing that you will need to do before actually going on to the performance meeting is taking a look through the conversations, take a look at the AI results and write down some improvements that you see yourself, identify if there was any issues, and then bring those to the client so that they can see that you're actively working on improving the AI as well. Performing meeting is definitive, and the point of this meeting is to address any concerns they may have and show them that the AI is a valuable asset to their business by asking good questions. And depending on what AI services you are providing them, the questions are going to vary, but essentially you have a lot of good questions here that you want to ask them. And by asking these questions, you'll find out if they ran into any issues, and if they did, you want to focus on acknowledging these issues and addressing them. In this situation, the customer really needs to feel heard in this situation and needs to see that you understand and will work on the feedback that they're providing. You'll also find out here if the solution is making a difference in their business and be able to compare the results you're giving them with the ones they are achieving themselves. So it's important to compare and conclude those results when you can. For example, when you ask about their pickup rate on their appointments and they tell you it's 60% on the ones that you sent them, and that's significantly higher than the pickup rate they mentioned in the beginning, make sure to use that information and conclude by saying, oh, that's great. If I remember correctly, you usually have about 30% of people pick up the phone. So 60% is a huge bump. Why do you think that is? And then have them do the conclusion. The point is, every time you can make a comparison and make them understand what value you're adding. The final question is, and you want to personalize this to their feedback and the services you're offering. Do you want to continue engaging the leads over text with AI and keep these appointments coming? You can also add their concerns into the question by saying, if we make the AI sound more human, or once we make the calendar integration more seamless, do you want to continue? Once they answer, you want to set very, very clear expectations on how you'll be proceeding, whether it's fixing something before you start again, resuming the AI, or just the need to send over more leads. Depending on what it is, you want to make sure to set up another meeting in a few days, or if you just resume the campaign, set it up in another week. Once you've set the expectations and another meeting, you can finish off the meeting by saying, do you know anyone else that could use this? Then let them respond and open up to the idea of a referral where they get paid 20% of the revenue. And then once you've had a good performance meeting, this is the beginning of a very long and good partnership, because it already sets the standards that you will always be on the lookout for their AI. They'll see that you're actively working towards getting the AI to a point where you can both just relax and not take a look at every conversation, and that the system itself is working and providing the business real value. And there's no reason that you guys wouldn't continue to work together until the end of time. So this is the last video of the current launch that we did. And if you did watch to the end, please let me know. I'd love to see who actually watched this far. And on the post, please give any feedback on what we can do to improve. We won't get mad if you have negative feedback. We actually love it. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and until next time, peace.